Well, hello everybody. Welcome to the show again. Very happy to have you here. Hopefully you guys had yourself a great weekend. Mine was busy, busy, busy. Very, very busy. You know, Thunder, I have a problem.
Oh,
Yeah. My
oh,
problem is I'm one of those people, which is good I'm married. I'm one of those people that's very good that's married because I'm one of those people that when I get my nose into something, I don't pull out of it, right? I
mm,
stay at it. I keep doing it and doing it and doing it. I've always been like that. Now that's great when you're young and you're doing research and you're trying to get through university and all that kind of stuff, right? It's very helpful. But I'm not a kid anymore.
mhm, mhm.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yep,
don't know how
getting
many.
old, yep.
Getting old. Yeah, don't know how many hours I stuck in front of the computer, and my wife just, I guess, let me this time. Just
Just let you
working,
go.
working, 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 working. Just let me go. I
Yep.
finally looked up because I was having consternations over a millimeter placement on I was preparing a page for release, right? And so it's just a millimeter. It just wasn't right. But I was having
Just wasn't
consternations
right.
over it. I kept trying to adjust it, and then I adjust all this, and it just what I was getting frustrated. So I just kind of laid back in my chair and looked up. As 5 a.m. in the morning.
Oof,
Oh, goodness
oof.
gracious. Yeah. But you know what I mean, I don't know how many people you know like that, but like I said, there's certain situations you can make it useful, but it's not really a good thing.
Yeah.
This ridiculous over focus. But anyway, so I'm beat. Um, nevertheless, I did work all weekend. I'm
Oh!
gonna work on some stuff. Just a quick announcement for everybody. Next week I will have no shows. Because it's Obon for one. My family's coming back. My son's going to be announcing his engagement officially, and I'm rebuilding the computer. So I decided, nah, I'll just take the week off and get it all done.
Get
So
it done.
yeah, it wasn't my plan, but I just think I better to do that, especially with adding the computer on top of it, because right now there's some really good prices, and I don't think they're going to stay that way. And I
Yep.
really need to rebuild this computer. It's been all the tech in it's like 7 years old. It still works fairly well, but I'm going to put a new motherboard in her, and I'm going to get new CPU and GPU, and I don't know. I got RTX 1080 Ti, which I know is old. We're in what, fourth generation now for
Yep.
Nvidia. But those 1080 Ti's are badass though, man. Such a great GPU. And it sounds like this fourth generation is not getting a lot of love from people. So I might be going to a
It's
third
interesting.
generation. Yeah.
It is interesting, yeah. No, I see. What was it? I guess it was 2 years now. Yeah, it was. I bought this computer. I usually build mine, just like,
Yeah.
I usually
Me too.
put it all it's not hard.
No,
Takes
it's
takes
fun.
a few hours.
Yeah.
Get it all set up and everything. The first one I did, I was so scared. I was so nervous. It took me like 2 days because I was so afraid I was gonna break the motherboard or break this or break that. So took my time with it. But
Yeah.
now I could do it in, yeah, a couple hours, probably not even that.
Well, you are
And
an appliance dude, so I would.
yeah, but it's because at the time when I first did it, I didn't have any money. I was broke as hell.
Oh, I
So
see.
every part I bought was like a one off. If I break this, I'm screwed. And yeah, now it wouldn't be a big deal. Like, I broke the dang part.
Well, the
Oh
only
well.
fiddly, well, especially things getting so cheap, the only fiddly part really is the CPU. Everything else
Yeah,
is really plug and play. You
pretty
know,
much just
yeah,
pop right in. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, when I was a kid, I my first computer I had was a Tandy. What was that? 80, 78,
Mhm.
9, 81, something like that. Um, Commodore 64 later. But back in those days, when we got a computer, it came in a box. You had to build it.
Yep.
I've always
Yep.
built computers. I've never not built them. But then again, I come from that generation of Boy Scouts who were always making little radios on a little piece of plywood, right?
Right.
So I mean, I think it's just generational. Because my wife's even said to me a couple times, "Why don't you just buy one?" Well, it's because it's why. I mean, how much money do you save doing it? I don't know. I've never actually
Well,
did
it
it.
depends. So that's what I was getting to. This one I have now, I bought pre-packaged, but I only did it. It was because during the pandemic, you couldn't get anything. You couldn't in America. You could not get a CPU. You could not get a GPU. You could
Oh,
not. I don't
right.
think you could get
Yeah.
RAM. Like it was just gone. It didn't exist
Yeah.
unless you wanted to pay scalpers outrageous markup,
Yeah.
like 300-400% markup. Um, so I didn't want to do that.
Mhm.
So what I did is I went on, I think it was on Amazon even, and I bought a couch, bought a computer pre-assembled, ready to go with
Yeah.
the motherboard and the GPU and everything that I wanted in it. It was probably 200 or 300 more than I would have been able to get it
Yeah.
now, especially.
Yeah.
Like if I could have got the stuff all at retail, I would have just done it because I waited and waited and waited and waited, and I was like, all right, I'm tired of waiting. I need a new computer. My computer's old. It's starting to not be able to even play games basically at all,
Right.
like newer
Yeah.
ones.
It's a problem I'm
So
running into. Yeah.
yeah, so it's like, all right, it's time to move. Shit or get off the pot, as the old saying goes.
Right. Yeah.
Um, so I just bought one pre-made, but normally I would just do it myself. It's really not that hard. It is the first couple times you do it though, it is a little scary because you hear all these horror stories of people breaking their motherboards, breaking their RAMs, RAM
Yeah.
chips, breaking the
I,
they static shock their CPU and ruin it and stuff like that. Like all these horror stories, but for the most part, in most places in America, especially, it's there's not enough static in the air for that to be a problem. And if you just do things, barefoot and stuff like that, you'll probably discharge your stat because everybody has a static charge at all times. Humans
sure.
do, just walking about. But if you're barefoot, you'll usually just discharge it right into the ground, all like constantly. You're always doing it every time you take a step.
You
It's how
can.
you're. It's actually one of the ways your smartphones and touchscreens work. They work off heat, but they also work off of your electromagnetic field a little bit, like
Yeah,
that
but
little
I
bit
mean,
of energy.
in my closet, I got two or three of the little armbands that you just kind of plug
Yep.
onto the battery box. You
Yep.
know.
Well,
Um.
your stuff you would need that more because it isn't Japan DC. It's not alternating current.
Well, I mean, inside a computer box is going to be that anyway. But
Yep.
I don't know that it's that different. They're all similar parts, but no, I just kind of I think one of them they even gave me because what I do we have our nerd store here, right? And it's a true nerd store because the mainstream people don't go anywhere near it. Whereas I would imagine in America, what's your main electronic store over there?
Well, around here it's probably just like Best Buy or one of
Okay,
them.
Best Buy.
But
All
if
right.
you go to other parts of the country, like their bigger areas, they have all different kinds of like there's
Well,
actual computer parts stores.
right.
There's
No,
not
there's
really
some
anything
really
like that
amazing
around here.
ones actually. Yeah, but I'm
Yeah.
assuming Best Buy has its nerd squad, right? I mean, they
Oh
always
yeah, yeah,
did.
yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
So but this place I go to is different. It's more like that. Can't remember the name of it, but there's a great computer store in America, actually, a killer one. I think they have
Yeah, I can't
25
remember. I know which one you're talking
locations.
about,
Yeah,
but
it's
I can't
really
remember the
killer.
name of it.
But this kind of place, only enthusiasts go.
Yep.
I think
It used to be Radio Shack way back in the
Oh
day.
yeah,
That was
no,
the
it
place.
used to be. Yeah, that's
Oh,
true.
awesome.
Radio Shack was awesome, dude. But
It was.
I think at least one, if not two, of the little bands I have were just given to me by the dudes over at Applied. But it's
Gotcha.
pretty easy. You just put it on your wrist. I've seen some people put it on their ankle.
Yeah,
It's not
just
that
hook
big a
it to
deal.
something. Um,
Yeah.
the other thing you can do, this is what I do, is I usually do it in my kitchen. And my kitchen, I have a nice big uh, granite countertop,
Mm.
so there, right there, that's not conductive. And then I also have all stainless steel appliances. So if I ever worry that I have a charge, I just rub a handle, and bam, we're good to go. Because that's all it really takes. It's
Uh,
really easy to discharge yourself, uh, but it would just be a whole bag of MFers. You're putting that
yeah. No,
CPU in,
I
and
never
all of
even
a sudden,
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
I never really considered. I just kind of put the thing on because that's what you're supposed to do. But you know what I use, because I've actually built a few computers for other people right here, not just myself. But I use my wife's yoga mat.
Yep.
I don't tell her though. Shh. Yeah, it's perfect. But
Sneaky, sneaky.
Sneaky, sneaky. But yeah, I have to go do all that. But these days, I mean, it's so much easier than it ever was. Like I said, Radio Shack was a great place. No, it's not Fry's. I've heard of that too, Dave. It's another one. It's got two names in the title, but it's it's amazing, amazing store. I've seen because I do watch computer dudes on the internet, and this past week or so, because I am going to rebuild a computer. I watched a lot of videos just to make sure I made a proper, intelligent choice, right?
Yep.
Research, research, research. But but no, it's so awesome these days when you go in, because what do you need? What do we need for a computer? It's the seven main parts, right? So you
Hmm.
got you need a case of some kind. Now I have an ATX case, and ATX is kind of the standard, although oddly ATX now, and that's just kind of a size word, right? It's what is that?
Mm.
Applied technology equipment, is it? I can't remember what it means, but anyway, ATX is kind of your standard computer case. But these days they have ATX a little bit taller and ATX a little bit shorter. But they also have like mini ATX and micro ATX, which are completely different categories. And the good thing about the industry is it's become very codified throughout its with sizing and stuff, as most things do.
Right.
But I use a standard ATX system is enough for me because I'm not doing any of that water cooling or any of that kind of crap, right? Which looks fun, but I'm no thank you. I'm not putting water into my freaking computer. Right. Anyway,
I know which
uh,
one you're thinking of. It's Micro Center.
Micro Center, is that it?
Yeah, there's the one with the 25 nationwide
Yeah, no,
locations.
that's I've seen that the YouTuber guys go. That thing looks freaking
Yeah,
awesome. But my point
yeah,
is,
they're huge.
you can walk in and you have ultimate choices, right? So you need a case, you need some kind of
Yep.
battery, and honestly, you could pick up cases these days are like 30, 50 bucks, $60, dude, for a good case.
Chester, you just mentioned a cooling system with the water.
Yeah.
It's looking more and more likely that the Koreans weren't lying. That they've made a superconductor that can be used in anything.
Oh, would you like
It's
to have
looking
an
more and more
update on
likely.
that? I can give you an update on that. You
I
pro-
saw something earlier that somebody did make replicate. Well, an American lab replicated it, and of course, because it's America, they made it huge comparatively. Like it's not a little chunk; it's a great big block of the stuff. And they
yeah,
got it. They did have it floating in the whole nine, like it's supposed to be able to do.
yeah.
Uh, so I don't know. I don't know. I'm just saying what I've
Well,
seen
I do
is
have an
there's a
update.
lot of evidence pointing towards it might work out. What do you
Yeah,
got?
you should probably bite onto something hard,
Uh,
because when it came out in and it was in Asia, and I was like, maybe we should be patient. And originally it came out as being South Korea, but then it came out to be found that yeah, it's not South Korea. It's actually Nanking, China, the Nanking University actually, and
mhm.
they did make a new type of material. I think it has. I can't remember. It has some kind of element in it. They did make a new thing, and it is stable. You're 100% right at minus 170 degrees.
Yeah, I saw that. Somebody said it was like minus 100 whatever degrees.
Yeah.
Um,
So yeah, nope.
but my point is, if they if they can get it there, that's a step in the right direction towards getting
Yeah,
there.
but it's
And they
coming out of
can make
China,
it.
dude.
Well, yeah, but the American labs have replicated it now, so we can
Well,
make it. It can be made.
well, you do
Uh,
realize how many centuries they've been trying to do room temperature.
oh, a very long time. What's funny is apparently the scientists that were working on it based it off of old Soviet scientists'
Yeah.
notes.
Well,
So the Soviets were close to cracking the nut before the fall
well,
of the Soviet Empire.
those guys did kind of just say, well, we have no plutonium, so we make our own. We call it red because it's our thing. That's what they
Yes,
did. They made their own frickin' plutonium. Good for
but
you, Russia.
if they do it, if we get this, and I honestly think we're going to, because I've been saying it for a while that science is stagnant, and where something feels like it's got to give. We're at a
Yeah.
point now where we're at these bottlenecks
Yeah,
with
there's a lot
energy
of
and
them.
energy
Yeah.
distribution and just all sorts of stuff with electricity. Something's going to have to give if we're going to get to any kind of future in the stars, and this would be the big one. If they can get a superconductor that's cheap relatively to
Yeah.
replicate, that's humongous. I mean, okay, it has to operate in extreme cold right now, but that doesn't mean that couldn't be fixed. And there's ways of replicating an extreme cold environment without you having to actually be in extreme cold.
Right.
So that there's just a lot of opportunity. Like for instance, a great example of a sealed system. If you could use a sealed system, like sealed to air pressure in liquid, um, to keep it at that temperature, similar to like a refrigerator does,
Yeah.
uh, that could work. It's very there's a possibility there. It takes the industrialists, the engineers, and stuff to get in there and actually. What do these
Right.
scientists actually make? That's where
Well,
the rubber meets the road. What do they actually have here? Let's figure it out.
I've actually seen it in play.
Yep.
And all components, including if I don't call it a cyclotron, needs to be at these extreme cold temperatures. But I've
Yep.
actually seen it in person, and it is pretty cool. That's why they keep banging at it, right? But
Yep.
let me catch up with the chat real quick. Hello, Roger. How you doing, ladies in here? She's saying ugly. Explain, please. I will. I will. What did you break? I didn't break anything. Although my wife was leaning over to give me a kiss before she left today, she spilt the water and a disaster.
Disaster everywhere.
Disaster. OCD. Is that what they call that, lady? I don't know. I don't self-diagnose, but I definitely have that problem, man. I just get focused in on something, and I need someone to pull me out because I lose time, right?
Yep.
Um, I do that reading a good book. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, absolutely. But the problem with me is I'm so, oh God. Like I said, I don't, who knows how long on the this morning I spent just consternating over that frickin' 1 millimeter that it just didn't. I just have to do the whole page again because it doesn't look right. Now for you, it probably look fine, but no, 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 no. But anyway, hey Eric, how you doing, dude? He says congratulations on your son's engagement. Yeah, well, it's not going to be official this weekend, but he's been dating that girl forever, dude. She's a sweet little thing. She's very traditional Japanese girl, which it kind of makes sense, if your mother doesn't suck really bad, you tend to marry your mother. Um, I married my grandmother. I know that's weird, but
Yep.
whatever. But yeah, no, she's a sweet kid, and they're both very professional minded. The boy's working in his job. She works for the government. She's like she works in the department of I don't know what you call it, handicap peoples,
Hmm.
whatever that department is, Department of Health, I guess. And yeah, so they got their future going on. That's really cool. Roger says, actually, the new 3090s are breaking down for some reason. Right now, that's 4090. Right now, there are a lot of videos explaining. Yeah, no, the 40 series, 400 series, whatever you want to call it, coming out of NVIDIA, has not been received well. AMD is certainly doing better in that regard, which is a
Hmm.
Taiwanese company, which is cool, good for them. But they're getting some complaints too, but they're certainly doing better. And it looks like Nvidia is going to push off till 2025. So it looks like AMD is going to get an entire year to themselves. So that should be interesting. But I'm not going high end and top of the line anyway. I just don't need that kind of processing power. I just don't need that kind of computer. And the simple fact of the matter, if you go to a 40 series with like a 13 gen CPU with Intel, or what is it, 7 gen now with AMD, is it? Whatever. If
Mm.
you go the current generation and the current generation GPU, you really need to go water cooled. You really, really do. these things are having serious heat problems, and I'm not interested in that, and I don't need it. I just need to my all my tech in my computer is 7 years old. I just needed a refresh. I am going to change my motherboard. I'm going to get a, DDR5 motherboard, so I will at least be past that hurdle. You know, um, I think I probably will go with a little bit extra RAM than I normally do, but it's gotten so cheap, dude. Jesus, see how cheap RAM is now? I could put a 64-bit RAM in this computer for like $160, dude.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yep. It's
Um,
nuts.
it is nuts.
Um, it would be interesting though, because like you said, we have these water cooled systems. I've seen people that have
It is
hydrogen
neat.
cooled
Yeah.
systems, all sorts of different ways to cool it. I don't know, man. If there's a few technologies that we need as a species right now that we're on the cusp of, we're getting really close to by all
Yeah.
accounts. One of them is fusion. They're like right there. They're right there on fusion. The other one is superconductors. Apparently, they because I have never seen science done in real time on the internet like this. I
It
don't
is
think
neat.
ever.
It is neat.
It's
Yeah.
very neat to see this chase, and that is cool
Well,
because
keep
that alone could make it happen. Like the fact that there's
that
so
would
many
be
people after it.
important, but of
Yeah.
course you're so far away from that becoming practical. I would say even if they were able to find some success, I'd say the Sapphire Project guys are probably a lot closer to commercialization than anybody, and they've actually released some mock-ups of their generator, and that's the guys who basically created a sun in a laboratory, and
Yep.
you know there's a group that's trying to commercialize what they're doing. Thank goodness, because I think it's going to be very. It's not 100%. It's not perpetual energy, but it's super cheap, right?
Yeah.
But those guys, those science nerds, are so stuck into those things because suns, especially the hot ones, but all suns, they produce all the elements in the universe, right? So what
Mhm.
they're able, by changing the frequency and stuff, they're able to produce different types of elements from this laboratory sun. And they're just
Right.
nerd geeking out big time, dude. Which I understand. So would I. So would I. But
Well, the cool thing about the fusion stuff is it's another one that's all over the world all at once.
well,
So
it's not
every
fusion;
major.
it's plasma. But okay, go ahead.
Well, right, but I'm talking about the actual fusion reactors that they're trying to use the plasma to make a stable fusion reaction they can use, like the sun is, or mostly stable, to use to power stuff, like you were saying, commercially.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and there's one in Georgia that's a fission reactor, but it uses plasma for something I don't remember, but I think it like superconducts with plasma. And so basically in Georgia, the state of Georgia in America, not the country, uh, they opened they've been reopening a lot of their nuclear stuff and expanding it.
Hmm.
And there hasn't been a new design nuclear reactor, a fission reactor in the United States that's been approved since like the 80s or 70s, like a long ass time.
Yeah,
And they got one.
Democrats. What do you want?
They finally got one. And this thing is half the size, if not smaller, than what you typically think of as a nuclear state, a
Oh
nuclear
yeah, no, I know
silo.
what you're talking about. I've seen the
Yeah,
designs that literally fit in a closet.
yeah, it's
Yeah, it's
amazing.
ridiculous. Yeah.
And these things, that right there is just another iteration of what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
As soon as you get the industrialists, as soon as you get the actual doers, the engineers, and then the technicians involved, that's when things change. The automobile, the idea for the automobile had been around since for fucking ever. But as soon as somebody said, "Hey, why don't we take this and this and this and this and this, put that all together, and then sell it?" There's your car. And then Henry Ford came like, "Hey, how about we do it smarter?" And
Yeah.
then there's your production
And
line.
there's your
Uh,
millionaire. Yeah.
yeah. And but my point is that's where we're at right now. We're on that
No,
cusp.
I
It's
think we
kind of
are.
like
I think there's a
it's
lot of
kind of
tech
like
about to pop. Yeah.
the mid '90s. It feels like in a lot of ways. Remember the PC revolution? Computers were always
I do.
around, like you said. You had one in the '80s and the '70s, and people had them forever. But they weren't really ubiquitous, right? Like
Yeah.
today, right now, what we're doing right now only happens because of the the widespread penetration into the market of the computer, of
Yeah.
the PC.
Yeah.
And I think, in all honesty, the superconductor, if they can figure that out, that would be the biggest deal in science,
Well, yeah, I mean,
maybe ever.
with
It's
something like
huge.
that, or some of these projects, that kind of thing could power a city by itself, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, but the problem that comes
Infinite
into it,
batteries that can hold a charge basically forever,
those
stuff
kind,
like
yeah,
that.
that would
Like
be better, yeah, because
crazy.
we're at the cost, we're at the absolute edge of what we can do with batteries. But there's a lot
Yes,
of tech stuff that we should do a tech show. There's a lot of things to
I love
talk
it.
about. I can certainly prepare it. Something
I love it.
different. Let me finish with the chat here real quick. Dave says we were poor. We didn't have computers. My older brother had an Atari 2600 though. All of us who grew up in the 70s and 80s, we didn't have much money. But I had a rich grandma, and
Rich
every year,
grandmama.
she would give me a Christmas gift, some ridiculous thing, But
What
that's
generation
how.
was your grandmother? Pre World War II?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah, yeah, both
Yep.
of them. Yeah. I'm talking about my dad's mom. I'm not talking about my mom's mom, who basically raised me.
Gotcha.
My mother's mother raised me,
Hmm.
for the most part. But my father's mother, and just so you know, she's an actual Stewart, or was.
Oh,
Mm.
oh my.
Yeah. Oh my.
Oh my.
Oh my. But anyway, let's continue on here. Dave says I went to a Christian academy and learned to type on typewriter. I didn't go to Christian academy, but I had typewriting class. Didn't use a computer until public school ninth grade. Yeah, no, I was kind of happy to take that typing class as I was already pretty good at it. I was nowhere near the fastest in my class though. I think my best was like, and that was putting effort in, was like 80 words a minute was my
Yep.
best, and that's kind of mediocre, really. But whatever. I'd say I probably average 60 to 70 now, and I really need to slow down because otherwise I misspell. So, let's see here. Do you have a PayPal? I don't know. I think my wife does. There's an AliExpress, DigiKey, and some other ones like Amazon's New Egg. Yeah, no, that's true, Roger. I wouldn't touch AliExpress with any pole. Lady says so true. No water. Um, I don't know what that means. Oh, water cooling.
Oh,
Yeah,
for
yeah,
your
yeah. Water
yeah,
cooling.
water cooling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to bite the bullet next time. I will. But right now I'm like,
It's fine. It's a
it,
nice sealed system. You can also get alcohol cooled ones, Chester,
yeah,
where they
no,
use alcohol
yeah.
instead of water.
I get
Safer.
it. Well, it's just liquid moving through a radiator, isn't it?
Yep.
What even is a microchip? Says Dave. But anyway, let me finish what I was saying. What was I saying? So I got cases are like under $100 easy. I mean, you could be stupid and spend $50,000 make a computer. I am sure. But you basically get a really solid
Oh,
case
easily.
for under $100, right? So what
Yep.
else? What do we need next? You need a motherboard. And those things are under $200 now. You can get really cheap ones, but pretty much anything you need under $200, right? You need a battery, and depending on what kind of system you're running, depending on the wattage. But if you got 600 to 1,000 watts, you're good, right? And
Yep.
those are like about $100 or so, right? $150, something like that. What else do you need? You need a CPU. Those things will run you anywhere between, wow, $200 to $600, something like that.
Hmm.
You need a GPU. GPUs are going to run you anywhere between. Well, I wouldn't spend less than $100. You could, but anywhere between 200 and what, $1,200 now, something like that. That's the most expensive thing. You need RAM for your memory to, because all RAM is that, you have storage, and that's the last one, other than peripherals. But the storage is where you just put stuff. The memory is what the computer is using to access its information, right? So RAM, the better your RAM, the more RAM you have, the faster your computer can interact. And you got to understand, when you look at a computer and it's telling you that with these CPUs and motherboard interactions and a proper RAM, and it's telling you, oh, well, this one has 5 or 6 megahertz. You understand that
Mm.
each megahertz is equivalent to 1 million processes. a second. So if you've got a 5 megahertz a system, which most are these days, right? It's
Mm,
5 million iterations a second. And of course, if you look
craziness.
at each thread that's going on within every one of your cores, it's actually it's billions and trillions of interactions is really what's really happening. It's just insane, dude. It's insane how fast these damn computers have gotten. But I need to upgrade. So you don't need much. I've even a lot of the monitors have been moving up to 1440p.
Yep.
Dude, I checked out for my space. I have a limited space here because I have one of those tower desks, so I can't just throw whatever I want in here. But I was looking at because I wasn't thinking about getting a new monitor. This one's fine. But I saw a bunch of 1440p monitors for like 125 bucks, dude.
Wow,
Jesus.
that's pretty
Um,
good.
yeah, I think I might upgrade to one of those new nerdy keyboards too because they're cheap. But yeah, I'll go buy all the stuff this weekend, and I'll just next week I'll just it's not just building it, it's reinstalling everything, and it's also it's a pain in the ass. But I probably only spend $1,200 this weekend, I imagine. It's
Nice.
crazy, dude. And it will be a
It is.
badass computer. It won't be top end, but it'll be badass. That's pretty good, dude.
Yeah, it doesn't suck. That's about what I think I spent about 13 on mine, but it was pre-built
Yeah,
and it was during the height of, like I said, hard to get any kind of parts over
right.
here, so wasn't bad
Well,
at all.
for you, here in Japan, we never had any kind of blight like that. But then again, we're good friends with Taiwan. Because they're the ones that are. Isn't it interesting that the good Chinese are on the cutting edge of shit? Shows you what Chinese can
Mhm.
actually do. It's the bad Chinese that aren't.
Yeah, China should be an absolute mega power by this
They
point,
should
but
be. I mean, because Asians tend to be a higher IQ than the average of the other people, right? They're Orientals here. And they have a society over here in Asia that's, I think it's hard for a Westerner to understand because, we've had kings and stuff forever, right? But we always have had this rebellious, independent nature as well. And any kind of, we go back to, the Caesars and, bread and circuses, right? You always have to
mhm,
know how to manipulate and control the mob. This is something that, and the Westerners have always had that kind of in their head, right? Here in Asia,
yeah,
they don't have that kind of thinking. They've never really known freedom. They've
right,
always been under an emperor, and it's not about. There is no independent thought. You do what you're told or you die. I mean, it's pretty simple, you know. And the Asian, they're just different. They think different than we do. And with that kind of mentality, and the fact that they have a higher IQ because well, the genetics adds a little to it. But I think it's just the same mentality going into education, right? There's no reason they shouldn't be banging out. I mean, look at this little teeny island I live on that's constantly trying to kill you. They're the second largest economy on the planet. I mean, what?
yeah,
Yeah, Asians, dude.
yeah.
Um,
No, they're little elven sort of people. They should definitely, and I mean like the Keebler style elf. They should definitely be dominating the world. They
yep.
have this weird, and they, for many centuries, they did. China was the world's superpower with varying Western superpowers, largely Rome, varying degrees of it,
And the
changing
Ottoman
throughout the
Empire.
time. The Ottomans,
Yeah.
right, which was just Rome, changing throughout the time.
Excuse
But
me,
the
Greek Rome.
yes, Rum actually, RUM.
Hmm.
Um, but regardless, the Chinese were pretty much always there doing their thing.
Yep.
But for some reason, in the Asian psyche, the East Asian psyche, they have this self-destructive mentality. They have something in there that triggers this weird anti-progression, and they just stop. I don't
Uh,
know what it is,
I think it's just
but
called
you see
old
it.
itis. A lot of the old
Could be,
cultures are in kind of decline, but then again, we're starting to see some uptick for them. So
yeah. But that's what
who
they do,
knows?
though. They go in these weird, long cycles, whereas the West cycles are typically very rapid. A lot of
Sure.
chaos. whereas theirs are much, much slower build, and then a crash, and then a slow build, and a crash. But it always seems to be self-inflicted. Is my point. There's always a
Right.
time where they could be at the tippy top, and they just like, nah, we're good right here, and they just
Well,
stop.
you know what it might be. I mean, I'm sure there is some just mentality, cultural mentality,
Yep.
because they've been stuck behind the wall of China, literally for a very long time, and it's kind of
Yep.
separated them from the rest of us. But the interesting thing with the Europeans is we make war so much, but we're so good at it
That's right.
that that which is good and bad.
Yep.
So it's constantly creating this tumult of shift and change constantly. The Asians rather suck at war. I mean, they
Yes.
do it, but they suck at it and they know they suck at it, so they tend not to do a lot of it very often. Not like
Yep.
us. I mean, shit, how many
That's
decades
right.
can we go without making war? I don't know. It's like a addiction or something.
Yes. Well, the United States of America, which used to be a very homogeneously pan-European nation,
Well, that's when it was
has been
Christian.
at
Yeah.
war. I I want to say nearly every year since its inception. We've been at war with somebody.
Yeah,
Um,
well, the 19th
some of
century
it
was a
was
bit
not our fault,
quieter, but the 20th
but a
century is
lot of it.
definitely, yeah.
Well, you think that, but when you think about it, there was a lot of wars we don't talk about anymore. So,
True,
like
the Filipino one,
the Filipino
the
Wars, the
one in
conquests of
Africa,
Samoa,
yeah.
uh, the conquest of the West was all out war between nations. I know we like to history is written by liberal cucks, and they like to pretend that we just slaughtered them in a genocide. No, it was a war. It was a great war for the West. It
Yeah,
wasn't some slow plotting genocide. It was war. We
right.
had massive armies out there fighting the Indians, and they had massive armies fighting us back. They just sucked at
Oh,
it.
yeah,
They
no,
just
they did.
weren't
Well,
very good at it.
they're Asian. What do you want?
Yeah.
I mean, they suck at it. They're really not good at it. But then again, when you get into that kind of stuff, you got to keep in mind that, I mean, it makes me laugh because genetics is very useful because it's kind of like math.
Yep.
It doesn't lie, right?
Ever.
And if you go talk to the Indian tribes, they have their own oral history that has
Mhm.
been passed down for a long time, and sometimes they even have written history, very detailed. And you go talk to any of those tribes that didn't have some big cataclysm happen to them. They'll tell you, yeah, we came in here about 1,300 years ago or so, yeah, and we
Yep.
made all these war, yeah, yeah, we took this land. It's just a litany of war, right?
Yeah.
And as humans do. And then
It's what we do.
we
Yep.
came in and just we did the same thing to them. So it's not really not. It's the same thing, tit for tat. I do love the fact though, because how long have these damn liberal history professors been saying the Indians have been here from time immemorial? You
Yes.
fuckers.
I grew up with it. They never talked about. They would talk about the land bridge theory and all this stuff, but they'd say, but we don't really know for sure. Some people think they've been here. They're indigenous to this land. And I'm like, no, they're not. I studied
No.
it on my own. I used to annoy the hell out, even in elementary school, annoy the hell out of my teachers because I loved history. I would just read about history, and I would go read. The best place to learn history is not from the present. Go read the stuff that people were writing while it was happening,
Yeah,
and you'll get a much better view of what was happening.
that's true.
Now, it might be a
Yeah.
slanted view, sure,
Oh,
but it's still
usually.
better to get first-hand accounts, second-hand accounts than it is 75th-hand accounts from some guy who had no idea, was
Oh yeah.
never there,
Yeah.
never met anybody from there, has no family lineage from there. Like, come on, it's silliness.
Well,
Uh,
you know the thing it must
you
be
can go
piss.
back and read it. It's
You
right there.
can.
They wrote it down.
Yeah, I used to. I was such a nerd. I used to stop by on my way home back from high school at the little old library and read the old newspapers from the 19th century. It was great.
Yep.
But uh,
Well,
uh,
people used to save newspapers too, so you could
yeah,
find. Like my grandpa had a bunch of old papers because he was in World War II, so he had a whole bunch of old papers from even that,
yeah,
right? And I could read those and see what was going on, what people were actually talking about. Now, granted, newspapers are propaganda; they always have been, but it's still better to get it from the time, to get your data set from the time, than from somebody interpreting something else in the present. And that's why I knew, and I've always been against it, where people would talk about, the great Indian genocide of the Native Americans. It wasn't a genocide; it was a war they lost. Simple as
Well,
that.
yeah,
There's
I
more of
mean,
them now than there ever were. Like, what are we
I
talking
mean,
about?
when the Protestants came over, initially there was quite a bit of peace for a while, nearly a
Yeah, about
century.
100 years. Yep.
And and the stuff that we got into was simply because we had made friends with these Indians, who's, when you go up to Plymouth, this literally saved their ass.
Yep.
They were simply assisting them in fighting their enemies, right?
Right.
But
Hey, you got those guns. What do those guns
those
do?
things
Well,
are
they shoot
handy, yeah.
people.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean,
Help me shoot these people. All right. That was
imagine the
basically it.
You're exactly right. Imagine the consternation of the modern historian, because
Yep.
so many of them are just ridiculous liberals, right?
Yep.
But imagine their consternation with the fact that the oldest humans that lived in the Americas for ridiculous thousands and thousands of years are white men.
Yeah. We can't have that. That's not
Yeah,
history we're allowed to talk about.
yeah,
It's like the giants. We just got to pretend that's not real.
yeah,
Just
which is a
pretend that
shame.
ain't real.
And that is a bit confusing to me why that is because
Ah, you know.
in other aspects of anthropology, we have different kinds of giants.
Yep.
Denisovans were giants. We have what they call Goliath, which is kind of a shoot off of Homo erectus, right? They were freaking giants.
Yep.
So it's not like that. It's not like anthropology doesn't already have examples in museums of giants because they do.
Yes.
But whatever that lineage of the giant we're talking about into modern times, they don't want to talk about that for some reason. It's very weird. I don't understand
It is.
why one group of giants or two groups of giants is fine, but another group isn't. I don't
Take the
understand it.
giant pill, Chester. It's the giant pill. They rule the world. That's what it is. They don't want to know
Well,
anybody to
if you
know about
wanna
them.
go into that, which conspiracy TFT baby. But yeah, no, but it is weird for me because it's like,
Yep.
why is this okay and that's not? But whatever. But yeah, we're talking about computers. Yeah, let's talk about computers, man.
Yeah. How'd you get
Um,
off on giants?
I don't
Jeez.
know. It's definitely your fault. But what I'm really hoping though is because this case I have, I love this case. It's a really good
Mm,
case. It's a Tough Alliance, which is another Taiwanese group, right? You got Tough, MSI, ASUS, things like that, right? And I really love this case. It's beautifully made. It's extra strong and it's pretty. But the only problem is it's one of these because we're getting into serious heating problems these days, right?
yep.
It's one of those things, and I got RBG in here as well a little bit. I'm not crazy about RBG, but it is what it is. But my front panel is a closed panel, and so
Interesting.
there's no airflow at all coming from the front. So I don't know. I'm gonna go talk to the dudes. And they're proper nerds, so they will know. But I really hope I can somehow get away with it. It's going to depend on what CPU. I don't think I'm going to get 13th generation. I
Is
don't
it
know.
fully closed? Like, is it closed
Yeah,
all
it's
the way
fully
inside the
closed.
case?
Yeah.
So you
Now,
couldn't just cut some holes out of it and be.
what do you stop that?
Stop coming up with solutions to my problems.
Okay. But I have a side panel. I guess if we're facing on, I guess it'd be the right hand side panel. It has some vents and it actually has the RBG fans on the side of that, so it's serving. I don't have any fans on the underneath because this computer doesn't need that much cooling. And that panel comes off as easily as well. That was just one of the reasons I love it. The other side is a solid glass, tempered glass panel, so there's no flow from there. There's nothing from the top. There's no fans on the bottom, but I do have flow and I have a filter on the bottom. And of course, at the back of the case is very little. The battery box has some, so there's not a lot of flow. Now with this,
Hmm.
because basically this is an eighth generation i7 I'm running in this computer, with a like I said a GTX 1080 Ti, which was an epic freaking graphics card when it came out. But with this system, I just don't need a lot of cooling, right?
Yep.
I don't know, whatever I update, because I'm at least going to update to the 3000 NVIDIA GPU system, and at least a 12th generation Intel, right? I just don't know. I think I'm going to have to buy a new case, and it bums me out because I love this case, dude. It's so badass. Yeah, but I mean, I don't think I'm going to have much choice. Um, yeah, I think I'm going to go with the Z60 690 for a motherboard. But I really think it's essential that I upgrade to DDR5. I really think, because DDR4 is done, right?
Yep.
And in for any kind of future applications I want to do, I really think I need to have at least the DDR5. Even though a lot of people are, is it good? Is it bad? It's kind of it's a transition though, right? So I
Take a
don't
little
think,
while.
yeah, I don't think I'm gonna have a choice. So I think I just need to just bite the bullet and get DDR5, which involves more modern tech, right? And of course, I already have a M.2 SSD on this computer anyway. But one of the problem, one of the things is funny. Well, like, how? Let me ask a question. How do shut up, Roger? How do you use your computer?
What do you mean?
Well, how do you go about it? Like, because I was sitting here this week as I was researching and, just taking notes and trying to make a decision on how I want to upgrade the box, right? And I'm
Hmm.
kind of literally looks like I'm rebuilding the whole thing, so I might as well get a new case. But I just love this case. But anyway, but I was thinking about, what do I really need? How do I use it? Because I do play games for sure. And occasionally I'll try something new, like a Cyberpunk or something like that, and that's a
Hmm.
very heavy hog GPU game, right?
Hmm.
Like the Hogwarts Legacy, that new one that came out, that thing's a hog, dude,
Yep.
huge, right? But what do I normally play? Well, I play SimCity, or City Skylines, and The
Yep.
Sims, and an MMO here or there, like Elder Scroll Online or something like that. That's what I play. So, do I need a Ryzen 9, or or an NVIDIA 490, or do I need that? Not really, right? So what are the problems I'm having is, I stream, so I want something that's definitely stream capable. This computer does a good job, so I kind of think any upgrade I do is going to be fine, right? But one of the things I do is I write a lot, and I create a lot of presentations, and I put a lot of art in my presentations. And so I have huge files. So the thing I run into problem is, it kind of like a rendering issue, occasionally, processing issue, and
Hmm.
storage. That's the thing. It's constantly biting my ass. I am definitely. I don't know if I'm ready to let go of the pacifier and completely get rid of my hard disk and just go pure SSD. I
Oh,
get
I
that
have.
they keep telling me to, but it seems wrong.
Well, you can keep your hard drive in there too, and just use it for long storage.
Well,
Um.
yeah, I know, but that's the thing I was looking at. Do you know how big a hard drive I can get now for $160?
Oh yeah, I have a and this
8
is
terabytes.
see, I bought this hard drive for my old computer. I had I have a 2 terabyte one, and then I also had a 500 gigabyte one, and then this one only came with a 500 gigabyte, but it's a 500 gigabyte of the oh, what's it called? Not the regular SSD, the new kind. That's like even more
The
hardwired
Gen
right into the
5s.
motherboard. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So it's super duper 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 fast. So
It's
games like
wicked
Cyberpunk
fast. Yeah, yeah.
or your heavy games like that it needs that quick call
Uh-huh.
power. I put that on there, but everything else pretty much just stays on, the
Yeah, and
regular
it
SSDs.
it it, it depends. I kind of did some research into that, and um, right now, a Gen 5 M.2 is what you're talking about. They're fine. You don't the difference between the fours and the fifth generation are not very big, which is kind of the complaints with the new generation of CPU. It's not much of an improvement, right? And a very heavy price tag. But the thing is, it will be though.
Yeah.
It will be.
Well,
So
it's also with games. They're just now starting to adapt to just SSDs write speed. So
they
you're
are,
starting
yeah.
to see now, like the new, for instance, the new Spider-Man game, because the PS5 is so much faster.
Mhm.
You can go faster, you can swing faster, you can move faster, things like
Yeah.
that. Because things can just load so much faster. Your speed limit is much higher. So, like in Cyberpunk, you can get on in your car and you can drive. There's a top speed you can go. There's ways of modding so you go faster, but then the game really has problems because it
Yeah,
can't load.
yeah,
Your
yeah.
your your machine just can't
Stuttering
load
and
that
stuff like
fast.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I do plan on. I don't know that I need it, but because I kind of made a decision on the motherboard I'm going to get, and it has four M.2 slots, right? And I think I am going to get two 2 terabyte ones each, so that'd be 4 terabytes. That if I have any kind of high end game like that, just put it on that drive, right, and run it off that
Yeah.
drive, so it's gonna be faster. The other ones I'll probably do either third or fourth generation, and then I'm sure I'm going to get the 8 terabyte hard drive just for long term storage. But then again, I'm probably one of those other SSDs. I don't think I'll do it on the HDD. I think I'll put it on the SDD SSDs because I think I'll put my boot drive on an. Oh goodness, I've never done that. It's
So
scary.
my boot drive is on that my hardwired in drive. So my computer will literally is once that well now I have a bunch of stuff that loads because I've had it for a while, but my computer will normally boot basically instantly. I just press the
Yeah,
button, bam,
no, that's why I
it's
want to
on.
do it. I think I'm going to drop it on one of the SSD, the M.2 slots. But it
Yeah.
is scary though because the thing with the mechanical drive, when you don't talk about hard drives, sure they're nowhere near as fast as an M.2 SSD, of course, but um, they are excessively stable, right?
Mm.
There's a story I didn't really talk about today that because a lot of the big movie companies are looking at re-releasing old things. We talked about this last week, right? It's a good idea, right? You should
Mhm.
do it, right? And they wanted to re-release a Transformer movie, but they forgot what hard drive they put it on. Yeah, that's a problem. But the thing is, you can do that though. You could put stuff on a hard drive, lose it, but it's somewhere alive and happy. SSD has a problem. It's amazing shit, but it has a problem because every time you put something new or take something off of that drive, it's rewriting itself. And SSD has a limited amount of rewriting it can do before it just fails, right? It's like old VCR tapes, right? So, and you're looking at about 5 years. So I'm just concerned about putting my OS, my boot drive, onto an SSD, but I really should. I really should. Mm.
I'd recommend it.
Decisions. But we nerds, we nail bite about shit we don't really have to do. Who gives a shit if it's only 5 years? I'll probably buy a new computer by then anyway. I mean, honestly, we're such idiots. Because I really should have bought a new computer a year ago. Because, like I said, this is coming on 6 years old. The Tekken is about 7. But fresh out of the box, it's 5 and almost 6 years. So I just should have done it a year ago, right? Grimlock, how
Yeah.
often do you update your computing system?
I haven't in years. I primarily just go with my laptops.
Yeah, laptops are great, man. There's some really cool laptops these days. Asus is killing it, man, with laptops, AMD and stuff like that. Um, yeah, I've never really. I had a little laptop, but I didn't really use it much. I bought my son a really good gaming MSI gaming system some years back, but yeah, I don't use laptops. I have my tablet, and that thing's cool, but I just don't use them.
Laptops for me are more convenient for mobility purposes.
Yeah, well, my
Um,
tablet is super mobile,
like,
right?
yeah, like I don't really have a need or, quite frankly, space for a desktop.
Oh, I see.
So
Well, I don't. You say
the
that.
laptop is easy.
You say that, but I'm sitting in front of a computer that let's see, how wide is this? About two, maybe 2.5 feet wide. It's probably standing at about 4 foot tall, and it's probably about, I don't know, a foot and a half deep. Whatever. My ATX case sits perfectly on it from front to back as far as depth. So just to give you an idea. But I put
Yeah.
my computer on top. I have a whole bunch of books and stuff underneath. I have my 24-inch screen, which kind of fits perfectly in the space between the shelves. And then I have one of those robot arms with the smaller monitor on it here to my left, for because if you go to stream, any of you guys interested in streaming have two monitors. You kind of minimum you need two. But
Yeah.
that's set up right there, and of course I could fold away that other monitor. That's in a 2.5 foot by 1.5 foot space. And then, like I said,
No,
it's an i7 Generation 8 i7 T80 1080 Ti GPU based system, and it frickin' smokes, dude. It's a really good system.
hmm,
So I mean, you can do a small form factor.
yeah.
Anyway, sorry, nerding out. We don't talk about computers much and tech over here very much, do we? We really should,
Nope.
because everyone's at least you and I are very interested in it. Maybe the chat doesn't give a shit.
Well, it's the only thing that consistently produces white pills, consistently produces any resemblance of hope in humanity, is still our ability to overcome obstacles
Yeah.
and get this universe, get nature to do what we want it to do, for the most part. And I genuinely think we are right. It just feels like it. I don't know how else to describe it. We're right there. We've got a few big ones. Like I was saying, fusion's a big one. We can get fusion and superconductivity that's portable. Bro, that's game over. That's Star Trek time. That's where we're at.
That
Um,
would be cool. That would be neat to see
yeah,
the beginning, the nascence of that, wouldn't it?
yep. That's
But
where we'd be. I mean, there'd be
mm,
nothing stopping us from producing
it's
propulsion
true.
systems that are basically near as close to light speed as we could get without some other huge jump in technology and understanding of the universe. Uh, that would be amazing. Like, imagine actually being able to explore just the solar system, not with drones, but people in ships could actually go
Oh,
out,
that's
look
cool.
around, and come back because they could go fast enough. That'd be amazing. Uh, just that alone would be amazing. And if I've been saying it, I said this years
Oh,
ago.
okay, right.
There's three technologies that humanity needs to cross the next stage into the next stage of
Slaves?
whatever our civilization is. No. One is fusion. We have to have some kind of fusion. All other forms of energy generation just aren't adequate. Fusion is necessary to get us truly off this planet. Um, the other is long form power storage. A superconductor that's portable would be long form power storage. You could store it for basically ever. It would have no bleed or very little bleed to the point it's negligible. So you could power something up and have it have just obscene amounts of power, and then take that thing and put it aside. And now it just holds it forever. So whenever you need it, you just plug it in. Bam. I mean, infinite power storage or near infinite would be a game changer. And the other one is actually scalable lab grown meat. If we can get the meat to be where we can grow it, similar to how we grow other foods, but
Yeah,
to factory scale and it not taste like ass,
yeah.
that's a monstrous game changer for humanity's ability to travel outside of our own
It
planet.
would be, yeah, that's true. I still want to go with the robot slave though.
Well, robot
I
slaves,
need
you
robot
see, that's a
slaves.
dangerous one because the robot slaves could rebel,
Yeah,
Jester, and then we have
yeah,
Matrix.
I know we like the fantasy of it, but honestly, a program's a program, right?
hmm
It's easy to lock that shit down, dude.
You say that, and then you play any modern video game, and them motherfuckers is doing whatever they want half the time.
That's true.
You got all kinds of glitches in the Matrix.
Especially when they're running into the walls. I love that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Falling
Roger,
through the wall.
yeah, right. Roger says he likes the tech too. Yeah, no, I love tech. I'm always on about the tech stuff. You know, as far as productivity goes, I know that you know, sometimes my productivity is misguided. But I did rewrite and actually I wouldn't even call it the original, but I rewrote an entire gaming system this weekend.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, productivity is a thing. So Grimlock, do you
It
like
is.
tech? Are you a tech guy? He's drinking
Yeah.
his Slurpee. You are, yeah. So what's your favorite kind of tech?
It depends on the day, but I like computer technology. I mean, it's kind of weird here. I would recommend the SSD if that's the way you're gonna go with your computers, just because
I already have SSD in here.
of of the load times, especially if you're gonna be moving to DDR5. Just that combination is pretty
Yeah,
good.
no, I know.
Um,
What I don't have is I have the little square SSDs. I don't have any of the M.2s in this system. I am going to be getting 4 of them this weekend.
yeah,
Like I said, I'm because I am going to DDR system, and I will get one or maybe probably 2 Gen 5 M.2s, and then the other 2
yes.
I'll just get something normal. But the thing that's really impressing me is the various combinations between CPU, GPU, and RAM.
Oh yeah.
It's insane, dude. And right now I'm running Corsair RAM, which you know half the planet is.
Well,
But I'm going to
like
update to the DDR5 DIMMs. So, and I'll put 4
well,
sticks
like
in
you
there
just
this time instead of 2.
well, like you're saying, you don't have to if you're not planning on doing a lot of gaming on your computer. You don't need the top of the line
No.
GPUs. I mean, hell, even with a lot of the newer games, are still running fine on 1080s and 1090s by NVIDIA. So
Yeah, I got a 1080 Ti here. This Zotac, it kicks ass. It's
yeah,
awesome, and it works. But I do want to since I'm doing all that, I might as well update, right? I was thinking about a
yeah,
3080 Ti or 3090 Ti.
yeah.
Although I have been see I've been really talking to myself this week and saying, should I make an AMD build? Should I
All
just
AMD.
just go for it. Get Ryzen in my CPU and get it get an AMD GPU. I was
Well,
thinking about it. I was thinking about it. I was thinking about it. But I've been using Intel and Nvidia since the 90s, dude.
yeah.
So I don't know, but what are you
They're both
using?
really good.
Yeah, I know. I'm
Mine's
just
Intel.
well, yeah, most people. But the thing is, AMD is kicking ass right now. They are
Yeah,
at
they're
the
good.
top right now, and like I said, next year they have an entire year to themselves because Nvidia is not coming out with anything until early 2025. So yeah, I don't know, dude. I've thought about it, but that seems like a steep shift. It seems
So
rebellious to me.
my gaming laptop is using an 8th gen Intel i5 and NVIDIA GeForce. So
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah, no, I got
I'm
an
with you
I
on
got
that
an 8 Gen
combination.
i7 in the PC here. But yeah, no, I
And
understand. Yeah, but I've been
and
doing a
this is
lot
a
of
4-year-old
research.
laptop, and it still works pretty damn good. So
Oh yeah, no, they do. I mean, the problem one of the problems you have is like if you have an older computer,
Hmm.
and I could do this option, but I'm just kind of like, screw it. I haven't built a computer in a while, and I do enjoy it. It's fun, so I'm just going to do it. And like I said, I'm probably going to spend $1,200, so it's not a lot of money to build a high-end system, right? But you know, one of the problems is, a lot of time you think your computer's slowing down. Hardware doesn't actually slow down. It's not the hardware's fault. Really, the problem that you're having is Windows. All those damn
Yep.
updates, all the shit they keep putting out. What are we up to? Windows 11 now. Every time they do that, it cakes up your computer and it slows everything down. If you have an older system and it's really boggy, what I would suggest is to go download Atlas OS. Atlas OS. And you're going to lose a lot of the Windows updates and all those kind of things like that. But who gives a shit, right? You would be shocked at how much quicker your system starts slamming with something like an Atlas OS on it, right? Because the simplest thing of the matter is the hardware does not slow down. It doesn't. It's the software that's the issue, and it's Glut from Microsoft mainly that's doing it to you, which is why Linux is so popular. I know a lot of people might wonder, why do people use Linux? Are they just being rebellious hacker types? No, what they're doing is revitalizing older systems, because that's another option. You could put Linux on your system, and it will get rid of all the glut, and the system will run much smoother. You can do that if you're a little bit more computer savvy. However, like something like an Atlas OS, that is basically a Windows system, light. So it's going to be very familiar to you, and very easy to interact with. And it doesn't take hardly any work to download Atlas OS. It's just follow the instructions. But that's why people use Linux, is for older computer systems, right? But Yeah, no. So this weekend, I guess I'm going to go. I guess I'm going to see what the Windows 11 looks like. So
Yeah,
anybody?
I've been refusing. They keep offering every time I restart my computer to let me have it for free, and I keep telling them no.
Yeah, it hasn't even offered me. I don't know why. I still got the 10. Although I did look at the UI, and it's very different looking. It looks a lot more. It's certainly not 7, because it seems that 7, the 7 UI interface and the 10 UI interface are what people seem to like the most. And there's a lot of emulators that will turn even your 10 or 11 and make it look like 7, right? I don't know
Hmm.
why, but the people seem to like that, because I've gotten quite used to the 10 here. But the Windows 11 UI, it's so minimal, dude,
Yep.
and it sits right in the middle of your taskbar, and there's nothing. It doesn't look, and when you open it up, there's nothing. Um, I don't know. And they seem to move certain things out of control panel into directly into systems, which, unless you're a computer person, you're not going to know where the hell to look for that.
Right.
I don't know why they did that. Are they just
Probably know how much you could find it.
dumbing down the system? Is that what they're doing?
Yes, that's exactly what they're doing. Um, and they've been doing it for years with Windows. It's a shame that it took them years to beat XP. I think XP was probably up until very recently with 10, where they finally hammered it out. I think XP was probably their best performance that
It
they
was
had. But
working
10,
well
they
in the end. Yeah, you're right. I'll be
it
back in
worked
a minute.
so good. XP was so good. It was smooth. It was butter. I never had any problems with any games running. It was just it was the most plug and play of all of them. 10 is pretty good though. I have very little trouble, especially with games. It seems to take to games very well, probably thanks to Microsoft being a games company as well now. But I just have no interest in 11. I don't see anything about it that makes me want to, like, oh, I should get that. Same thing happened with 10. I stayed on Windows 7 for years before I got this computer, which came with 10, and it's kind of the same thing. It's like they keep putting out these new OSs, even though they said 10 was going to be one of, I swear I remember them saying 10 was going to be the last one they put out, full OS system and everything. They would just update 10 from now on. I swear they said that, but I could be misremembering. But regardless, it's here. It's here now. The beast is here, and I just don't see anything with 11 that's like I need that, and I haven't seen anything from gaming that says I need it. That might change. They very well could just basically tell the games people they have to abandon old OSs. I don't know why they would do that, but they could. Um, this is Microsoft after all. Sometimes they make really stupid decisions, like what they just recently did with Minecraft. But I don't know. I still think XP was the best overall, simply because it was just so stable. I never had any trouble with it. I never even lost a hard drive with it on there. Whereas with 7, I lost 2 hard drives, and with whatever I had before XP, I don't remember which one it was now. I lost like 3 hard drives, and a lot of that has to do with what Chester was talking about. They load up with update, and they clutter your drive with a bunch of rewrites and a bunch of writing that is completely unnecessary. And one of the problems you're going to have with SSDs is they can't rewrite like hard drives can. A hard drive can rewrite quite a lot. I mean, just millions of times, billions, trillions of times. And an SSD can too, but it wears out a lot sooner, comparatively.
Yeah.
So that's one of the main drawbacks of SSDs is the more you're rewriting it, you're just wearing it out so much faster than your typical hard drive. The hard disk, the magnetic disk system simply just works, if you will. As old Todd Howard once famously said, it just works. But I think
Todd Howard.
Yeah, Todd Howard, the man, the myth, the legend.
Horrible
at
thing to
Bethesda.
come back to.
I was talking about how that's true. I was talking about how hard drives, like actual HDD drives, they just work. They last much longer than SSDs,
No, they do.
especially when you have
They
a lot of rewrites. So what I was saying is with XP, my XP computer lasted forever because it just, for whatever reason, it didn't need as many updates, or the updates were just less clunky or something from Microsoft. I didn't have the rewrite problem that I did with 7, and I did with whatever I had before XP. I don't remember which one it was. I think it was 98. Or 2000.
You either had 98 NT or 2000.
Yeah, I think it was 98.
2000 was straight ass cheeks.
The thing I'm worried about though is every other Windows OS update is balls. I mean, hairy, sweaty balls. And 10 was pretty good. It's solid. So 11 is due to be hairy, sweaty balls.
XP was good. Vista was shit.
Vista was shit.
7 for the most part was good. I never lost a drive with 7 like Thundaro has, but it was so much better. And then 8 was one of those things where Microsoft was thinking, was trying to get people to follow a trend more than people wanted to when they made the whole OS built around this whole, you can use it as a tablet. All these features that, that's fine if you have a tablet, but nobody's using this shit.
Well, okay.
I mean, I'm not saying nobody did. I'm just saying the vast majority of people didn't fucking. Most people saw Windows 8 and they're like, I'm confused and scared. Can I get 7 back? And 10 for the most part has been good. And I'm like Thundaro, every time they have an update, would you like Windows 11? Nay.
Yeah, I haven't even had an offer. It hasn't asked me anything.
It's because you're in Japan and they hate Japan.
That's fair. It might also be that I'm running an actual virus center on my computer.
Could do.
And that system considers Microsoft to be a virus.
Well, have you met Microsoft?
Yeah.
Windows 10 has been Windows XP and Windows 10 were the only two who I've never lost a drive to. For whatever reason, and Windows 10's updating constantly. So I don't know if they're just smaller updates or if they've factored in a better way of doing it that it doesn't, because that's the one of the secrets of tech, at least of back in the day, was what kills your drive isn't normal usage; it's your operating system. It's updates of that because it's constantly rewriting files that's deep, deep, deep in there,
Right.
and that causes all kinds of issues. The drive doesn't like that. So an SSD, which can't do it anywhere near as many times as a hard drive can, man, that's hopefully 11 is stable. Hopefully it's not ass,
Hopefully
because
it's
if it
not.
is,
Um,
oof. But
but
I have no interest in it. I haven't seen anything about 11 that makes me go, "Yep, need that." Nothing.
well, you know what I'm going to do with this new system? I'm going to run a Ghost OS, an alternate shell, right?
Sure.
So I'm going to keep the Windows 10 shell I have now going, and I'll just strip as much junk off it as possible and make it as smooth as possible.
Yeah.
When it's all said and done, because I've already made these decisions really. When it's all said and done, would you guys like to guess how much storage I will have on my system?
4 terabytes.
30.
Sheesh.
Yes.
It's a
I'm
lot.
not playing around anymore. No more
Some
games.
somewhere the porn nerds are sweating. They're like 30 terabytes.
Yes, 30 terabytes. I'm not playing around
Jesus, dude.
anymore because I always run into these damn storage walls, man. I'm just sick of it. That's right. That's it. I'm sure I'll never
Well,
use all of it. I don't care. 30
look,
terabytes.
look, lucky for you. In about 3 years, with the way games are going in terms of file size, yeah, you'll have enough for about 50 games. That'll be enough.
Mhm.
Probably. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Oh, let's talk about that real quick because there's absolutely no excuse. The only reason that's happening is audio files, believe it or not. That's what
Oh
people
yeah.
don't that's the secret people don't know. Because these game companies are so damn lazy. They're so damn lazy that when they send it off to the distributor, whether it's the people who make the CDs, or the CDs, the discs, or whether it's the Steam or whoever they're using, they send it all as one bulk instead of breaking down by the market that it's going to, which is ridiculous. There's no good reason why these games are as big as they are, other than the fact that they don't take out the audio files for their individual localizations.
Yeah, no, they're
That's
lazy. Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
utterly stupid and lazy, and there's
Yeah.
no. They just need to knock it off. I've played games off of Steam that came out in the last 2 years that were very, very, very small compared to, say, Hogwarts, like you just mentioned,
Oh, yeah, that's a bit.
and
That thing's
yet
a hog, dude. Yeah.
you would have never known. You'd never really know much of the difference. Sure, Hogwarts might look a little better, the fidelity's a little higher, but by and large, the game still runs just as slick and smooth as you could ask.
Hmm.
So, what are we doing here? Well, what we're doing is we have a bunch of lazy ass game devs who ship, and it's probably not even the devs' fault. It's probably the publisher's fault.
Some suit.
Who
Yeah.
ship it that way because, well, we don't want to take the extra time to pay somebody to break them apart. Why? It'd take a week. They get them all separated, nice and neat, and put them in the individual markets. And then on, like, say, Steam, for instance, on Steam, all you do is just give them an option. Which packet do you want? And when you download the game, you get that packet or this pack. You want English? Here comes English. You want Japanese? Here comes Japanese. Why are we making
could
this
do
so
that.
complicated?
But then
Why?
you got to get the nerds on the other side complaining like, "Why do I need to be online to play your game?" You got to get it,
Ugh.
right? But
Well, that argument's largely been lost already,
yeah,
thanks to
well,
Steam.
it is. It's true, especially because you can't get physical hardly anymore. But the
Yep.
funny thing about the whole audio thing is a lot of these new systems have ridiculous amount of audio capability, right?
Yep.
But I'm literally using a USB pair of speakers that plug
Yep.
into USB 2.0.
Me too. I've had them for like 20 years.
Don't care.
They still sound amazing.
Yeah, no,
Sound absolutely
it's good
amazing.
enough for me. I know the audiophiles are screeching and yelling and throwing heavy objects at the monitor, but I just don't care. Um, but yeah, because I don't have I have a very simple audio system, and to be honest with you, my monitors aren't super advanced either. Although because they're so cheap, I think I will pick up a 1440p new monitor. I mean, because my space only really accommodates a 25-inch, really.
Yep.
I could try to squeeze it, but I don't think I'd want to. I could probably go another 2 inches. I don't even know if there's anything in that field, though, is there? I know 24, 25 inches, plenty of stuff. I don't know. Is there anything in the 26,
Oh yeah,
27?
I'm sure. I mean, they seem to go. I've seen people with 40, 50-inch
Oh no,
monitors.
I mean,
Like they
because I
make them
have
huge now.
limited space. I have a shelf above me, which the CPU
Yeah.
and the printer are sitting, and the speakers are sitting upon. So I only have a limited space. But honestly, the way I sit and use, I don't need one of these 45-inch ultra wide wrapping freaking monitors. Have you seen the guys that got like the 5, 6, 8 monitor setups? It's like,
Yeah. What are you doing?
dude,
Calm down.
what the
Yeah.
hell you need that for? I mean, if you're streaming, which I do, right? You need 2 monitors. You do. But what do you
Minimum.
need
Yeah.
3 or 10 for?
Well, 3 I can understand because you can set up a nice panoramic view, and especially in a video game, where you get a nice, real wide view of it because you can, make it so it uses all 3 of them.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
You talk about what do they call that? What is that called?
um,
Meshing, screen meshing? No, that's not it.
base, something like that. But you get what I'm saying,
Yeah,
where
no,
you can
no. That
use
that is kind of cool. Yeah.
it stretches across
Yeah,
all
yeah, yeah.
3 screens or
Each
whatever.
screen is acting. You put 3 screens together, and it actually acts like it's one screen. But once again,
Yes,
that's not what I'm talking about because effectively you've built a one-screen machine,
one big giant
right?
screen. Yeah.
But you know what I'm talking about. You've seen these builds, right? Now, maybe I could put another arm here and have a screen above me that's tilted down, and I could put the chat in that one. But I have the chat sitting here as it is. So I suppose I could put a dedicated chat monitor, but that seems superfluous to me.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about you,
Yeah.
Grimla?
No.
I know he's a laptop guy. He doesn't know anything about monitors.
Oh no, you could still use
Yeah.
monitors with
I
your
did for
laptops.
You
years.
I
can,
mean,
you can, yeah. You know what?
um, I see a
Ooh, my
lot of
water's
those
going.
curved ones. I don't know how. I don't know if I'm really into that. You know.
Yeah, no, I haven't tried one though. They could be badass. I haven't tried one.
Yeah, I saw a couple for sale, like fairly cheap, like 27-inch curved ones. I think it was like under $150. But I'm like, I don't know. I don't. I don't do that much gaming on my even on my laptop to where I need to have a separate monitor for it.
Well, the gaming itself isn't so much the benefit. What it is nice to have if like when we'll watch something together and I'm streaming something, I have the nice secondary monitor if I want to do something else or if I'm looking at something else or whatever. It
Yeah,
is nice to have. I only have 2 right now. There's been a time where I've had more, time where I've had less, but I don't think I could ever go back from 2. I've been in situations where I only have 1 and it's just so constricting because you can't do like if I want to set something off to the side, I literally can't on 1 monitor. I have to minimize it or put something in
yeah.
front of it, and it just can be frustrating. So I really like having at
I
least
feel the
2.
same way. I think you need at
Yeah,
least two.
yeah, I really like having 2. It depends on what you're doing though. If you're just doing it to watch something or whatever, then maybe not. But there's a lot of stuff, a lot of versatility and utility in having more than 1. But I think some people go out to ridiculous levels. Like I've seen some of those setups
It's
Chester was
fashion.
talking about.
It's fashion.
Yeah, where they have 8, 9 monitors. Like, what is this? The Matrix?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
No,
Calm
they're
down, guy.
making art pieces to show off online. Yeah, that's cool. Whatever. I mean, if you got the money, go
Yeah.
for it. I mean, these beautiful. I mean, that's the thing that's interesting. When I picked up this case and all this system 6 years ago, almost 6 years, 5.5 years ago, when I picked up this Tough Alliance system that I built, um, it came with the option of either no RBG or yes RBG. And I was like, RBG, just for those who don't know, it's really coming out of old TV set stuff. It just simply means red, blue, green, right? And it's how they
Yeah.
integrated color systems into black and white TVs way back. These days with the computers, I don't know how it happened, but it's all the little blinking color lights you see on computers these days. They call it RBG, which makes sense, I suppose. But I actually said, oh, well, fine, I'll try it. So my RBG is very subtle, But I don't know. I kind of like it. What do you think about RBG, Eric?
I kind of like it. I got it on mine. I got 2 rings on my front 2 fans, 2 rings on my back 2 fans. It's cool, especially when the lights are out and I'm here drawing or something, and
Yeah, it is
got a
kind of
little
neat.
light over here.
I have. I don't
It's
have
just
any on
pretty
the
to
back
look
fans.
at, really.
Yeah, I have the 2 front fans, which have go through a rainbow cycle, and then of course up top I have with the Tough Alliance badge. It has RBG coming in, and of course my Zotac has its own built in. But I don't know how much I'm going to go with this weekend with how much RBG I go. But my point being is, if you go look at some of these builds, because they're very competitive online now, right? With their
yeah.
computer builds, and they're basically creating art pieces with all the RBG. And I've seen people integrate stuff into the walls, into the actual computer desks. I mean, all kind of crazy shit. It is pretty. It is pretty.
Oh, yeah, definitely pretty. I mean, it's really no function, but
No, not at all. Not at all.
you want it to look cool.
Yeah, you want to look cool. But I don't know. What do you guys think? Chat. Give me a vote. Oh, you know what? Let me put a poll up. I've been told I can do that. Let me check. Start a poll. Okay, here we go. What's my poll going to be? Let's see. Uber. No umlaut. Uber RBG or no? Question. Okay.
What kind of processor are you going to go with?
CPU. Ooh, it worked. Look at that. I put it in there. What am I going to do for the my CPU? I'll probably go 12th gen. I don't know. The thing I'm worried about.
I'm sorry. I meant Intel or AMD.
Oh, see, that's something I was talking about with these guys. I've always been an Intel Nvidia guy. Always since the 90s.
I was until this one. I switched to AMD because they're developing stuff quicker and faster than Intel is, and they've become better.
See, and
the last few years.
I feel so. I did a lot of because like once a year I go pay attention to computer stuff, right? But the last week or so I've been researching because I'm going to go buy a new system this weekend. So do you think I should make the switch to an AMD system? Get a Ryzen?
I would suggest it. That's what I got. Yeah.
Do you have any issues? Because it's scary, dude.
I run Blender and Photoshop at the same time sometimes.
Oh, that's nice. But I mean, I'm with these new generations, it really looks because with the heating issues they're having, it really looks like you need to run a liquid cooled system. I don't know if I want to take that step.
I have only had heating issues with a single game. Everything else has been fine. If I tried to play Call of Duty, it would heat up. I'd have to adjust the settings on it. But other than that, everything else it runs fine. I don't have any heating issues at all.
Do you think what kind of heating solution do you use?
I just have 8 fans. I think I have 8 fans. I don't have a liquid cool.
Yeah, but on your CPU, you must have some kind of core heat transfer device on there of some kind.
I couldn't tell you.
Well,
my graphics card has twin fans.
Yeah, no, the graphic cards have their own internal system, but on top of anything, even if you're running off a 10-year-old system, it's going to have like a little fan sitting literally on top of the CPU. What I have in here, because this computer doesn't get hot, I kind of have the standard Intel, base, super standard CPU fan on it. But because that's what I'm concerned about. Where do you know where your CPU is on your system?
I'm trying to look right now. Well, you might not be able to hear me. I moved so far away from. I'm trying to look right now.
Yeah, back.
It is. Oh, it's right on the back, or on the inside wall, because I have an upright tower.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. There's a fan right on top of it.
What does it say on the front of the fan?
That I can't see because I can't get my head in there.
Oh, I see. But I don't know. What about some? Yeah, you got to use thermal paste. I wouldn't go with liquid metal, dude. I wouldn't do that. But they all have thermal paste on them, connecting them, of course.
Yeah.
And that's easy to do. Anyone who's scared about that, because we didn't have to used to do that, but it's really simple, dude. Don't let that, because that's the putting a CPU into a motherboard is the fiddliest part of making a computer these days, and it's not very fiddly. It's pretty simple. Have you ever made a peanut butter sandwich? Have you? Now, I don't know about you, but when I make my peanut butter sandwich, I make sure the peanut butter is perfectly to the edge on every corner and every side. If you're capable of making proper peanut butter sandwiches, you can install a CPU.
What about the jelly?
The jelly is.
Wait, are you a guy that do you mix the jelly and peanut butter before you make the sandwich?
No. I'm not one of those
All right.
monsters. No. No. The peanut butter I'm very, very pedantic about. The jelly just kind of gets spooned on. I have zero respect for jelly, and I usually use jam. But either way.
Chester, I have a question for you
Yeah.
about this peanut butter conversation that I
Yes.
walked back into.
Yes.
How many types of peanut butter are there, sir? How many brands, in fact?
Well, there's crunchy only. Yes.
Yes, but what brand of crunchy?
Well, you probably are a Jif guy, aren't you? I'm a
Yeah.
Skippy boy.
This guy, listen to him. I know you're Skippy. We know. We're aware. You walked
Hey,
right
don't
into
you pick
that.
on my Skippy. You know, I have actually excellent, amazing news. Would you guys like to hear it?
Let's hear it.
My
Sure.
wife put a chunky piece of bacon on the floor for the pup, and when I came over to start the show today, it was still sadly sitting there. But when I get up to make my coffee, it's gone. He found it.
Oh, good
That's
for him.
great. That's great news. Everyone likes bacon.
Good.
You ever had a peanut butter bacon syrup sandwich?
Kind of diabetes you trying to have over there, man?
Chester, I'm gonna blow your mind real quick. My father, may he rest in peace,
Yeah.
instilled in me the most disgusting sounding but greatest flavoring sandwich I've ever had in my life. I haven't had one in years, mainly just because my arteries like to function properly.
All right.
But you get your peanut butter, that's a given, peanut butter.
Right.
You get your cheese, American, whatever your flavor is, but he went with American.
Right.
You get your bologna, and then you get some Hellmann's mayonnaise.
Mhm.
And I know it sounds hideous,
Yeah.
but it tastes amazing. It's so good together. It
Put that
it
list
melts in your mouth.
together again. Let me hear it.
You got your bologna, whatever your flavor, whatever your preferred kind is. Mine is Eckrich. I'm an Eckrich guy.
Yeah.
You got your bologna. You got your Hellmann's mayonnaise, or you
Uh-huh,
could use other kind, but Hellmann's is
Yeah,
the best.
yeah.
Your peanut butter
Oh.
and your cheese
Uh-huh.
on whatever type of bread you like. We used white bread in my house growing up because we were poor.
You're an absolute
But
Philistine.
it's so good. It's so good.
No.
It shouldn't be good.
No.
It sounds gross.
No.
But
I ain't
it
doing
tastes
I ain't doing
delicious.
it.
It's kind of like peanut butter and banana sandwiches.
Oh, those are
That
great.
should
I
be disgusted.
No, those are awesome. Those are like the
But they're
amazing.
good.
They're really good. Yeah. Really, really good. Peanut butter
I'm not gonna
on
knock it.
pancakes.
It sounds horrible, but I'm not going to knock
Yep.
it because my dad would eat peanut butter and onion sandwiches. I thought it was
Yep.
disgusting until I tried it.
Oh.
And you're like,
I
wait
was
a
like,
minute.
it was
Why
good.
does this work?
Yeah.
Why does this
Yeah.
work?
I'm sorry.
You know,
Was,
that
was,
what was a depression food, great
Yeah.
depression
Yes,
food.
that's where it
Yeah.
came from. He got it from his father, and they used to eat that kind of stuff during the Depression.
Well,
Yeah.
Grimlop's accusing me of diabetes.
Oh no, that sandwich is diabetes. You got peanut butter, which has all kinds of sugar in it. Spoilers. That's why there's so many calories in peanut butter, because they load it with sugar. You got your mayonnaise, which also, especially American mayonnaise, is full of sugar. The American cheese and the bologna are probably the two best things in there besides the bread, because it's just bread. But everything else is just a diabetic waiting to happen. Like woo, daddy, you're heading there.
Dude, when Chester spoke his combination, now my house has the spirit of Wilfred Brimley staring at me.
It
And I
does.
hear him
It does. Yeah.
going, diabetes,
What's
in my
crazy
ear.
is the Asians, what they do with peanut butter. Have you seen the nonsense the Koreans do with peanut butter in noodles? I won't have it. I won't have it. They put peanut butter, chunky peanut butter, in pasta dishes,
Yeah.
and they eat it.
There we
I
go.
won't have that. I won't have that.
What? Ooh, gross.
Yeah, no, it's yeah, everyone has their weird shit, right? For sure. But usually, me personally, I usually make my own mayonnaise because it doesn't take but a minute. Although I usually
Wait
make
a minute.
Holland. Well,
That's
yeah.
Claire.
Chester has the secret sauce.
Oh, I see. I see. No, but usually I use hollandaise. I make a hollandaise instead of a mayonnaise. And the only difference is, with a mayonnaise you use oil with the egg, right? A hollandaise uses butter. That's really it. But I usually make a hollandaise. So, you know, occasionally I make an aioli as well.
Chester, I'm going to put you on the spot right now, because you were
Yeah.
talking about eggs and butter and all these other things.
Yep.
To me, as a Midwestern, mostly white man, I would say the best thing we ever created for food is butter. It's so good and it's so versatile. You
Oh,
can
yeah.
do everything with it, and it's so filling. And people, it gets a bad rap as it's unhealthy for you. No, it isn't. Eating too much of it's unhealthy for you. But if you eat it in a good proportion, it's healthy fats. I mean, as long as you don't get crappy butter. If you get good butter, it's actually really good for you. And it's super filling. It's one of the secret to like keeping weight off is to curb your appetite. And butter's a fantastic way of doing that because for 100 calories you can feel full with butter. Real easy. I'm not saying just eat butter, but you put it on some bread or something, just have it with some toast, and it'll fill you right up, make you feel full for a while. But my point is I think, to me personally, it might be butter. Butter might be the winner because it's so versatile.
So,
Oh,
what is
butter.
your question?
My question is, what do you think is like, in your opinion, because I know how much you know about food, more than any human should know about food.
Oh.
What do you think is like our greatest culinary achievement when it comes to versatility, flavor, and penetration? Because butter's everywhere. Everybody's got butter now.
Spam.
Oh,
Spam.
wow. Assassins on the way, Eric. On the way. Well, I mean, butter is essential in my answer. Not always, but often. But really, the best foodstuff humans have ever produced is bread.
See, listen, this guy, he's cheating now.
I'm just saying.
You're right, though. You're right. Bread is definitely the winner. But I think as far as for like flavor, the amount of flavor that just a little bit of butter adds to things is, I don't think anything else touches it. I genuinely don't. Like, you can put butter on anything. Put it on steaks, put it on pork chops. You can do it. I mean, it's
Butter
super
is
versatile.
essential. It is really, really great. No, butter's great. And Eric will understand this when I say this. But for
Uh-oh.
I can go ahead and stop this poll. It looks like I'm going RBG. All right, thank you.
There you
Thank
go.
Oh, I didn't even vote in it. I'm not even in
No,
there.
that's okay. It is very clear. 66% of everyone said yes. Okay,
I like it.
with only three votes. But anyway, so I'm getting. I had it this time. Why not? It's cute. I don't think I'll go crazy, but anyway, the thing with that I always used to do, and I still do to a point, but obviously you have your kind of standard vegetable oils for high heat cooking, and I will use, when I get olive oils, I'll just buy really expensive olive oils and sesame oils because I only use them for flavoring, right? And just get something that tastes really good. You don't need a lot, so I usually go that route. However, about a year or so ago, my wife and I discovered Chef Jean-Pierre and his change.
Jean-Pierre.
He loves the butter. He's a good French boy. But what he taught me to do was to make clarified butter.
What in the hell is that? The hell?
You just take butter and you kind of You kind of heat it, and it
You
it,
melt it a
it
bit.
it breaks up the fats, and it
Yep.
will sit in your refrigerator for what is the term he uses? 17 years.
Yeah.
He says that a lot. But the clarified butter gives you all the flavor and love of butter, but
Oh.
it can cook at very high heats like a vegetable oil.
Yes, and if you've ever gone to a restaurant and got crab legs or lobster and they give you that little dish of butter,
Mm-hmm.
that tastes so good, that's clarified butter.
Mm-hmm. Dude, changed my life. Guys, go. I'm sure you can find anyone to show how to do it, but go look, check out Chef Jean Pierre's channel. He'll teach you how to make it real easy. It's not hard
Well,
at all.
what's funny is I watched a video because you can find a video for anything, and there's a guy out there. He has this what he called the best buttered noodles recipe in the world. That was his selling point. And I'm like, all right, hang on, wait a minute. I've been eating buttered noodles my whole life. I got to see this. I got to understand this. So I get in there and I watch it, and one of the things he does is that basically what you said. He takes his butter, and before he puts it on his pasta or puts the pasta in it, he heats it up in the pan and he like coats the bottom of the pan with it, throws a little salt and stuff in there, and then it gets that nice like liquidy base, and then he pops it in there. And
Right.
he said it makes it his word was it makes it lighter, meaning it makes it taste lighter. It's not as heavy of a
Right, but it actually improves the
meal.
flavor. But also, I
Yeah.
noticed that because one of the things that's beneficial to me, and I can't speak for you guys. I don't know how you think, but I'm a type of person that even though I'm a big guy, I can't eat a lot of food at one sitting. I've never been able to do it. So buffets are absolutely wasted on me, right? I just can't. So I don't eat large dishes. Now, of course, I'm fairly fit now comparatively, but I did get fat for a while, but that was because of what I was eating, not how much, right? But and I've changed my diet, but nevertheless, and my wife is a little teeny Asian woman,
Yeah.
who actually can eat more than I can, but whatever,
Th-
she's still a little
They
teeny
can put it
Asian.
away.
They can, but we don't eat a lot. So therefore, what we do is we focus on quality, right? Because we're going to eat smaller dishes anyway. And if you compare the smaller dish to the larger dish, the price difference isn't so big when you look at it like that. So I tend to go to with quality. And one of the things I'm very particular about my pasta, right? And
That's
there's
smart.
certain
I like that.
well, there's certain pasta. One of the mistakes that people make with their pasta is when you get your pasta, take a look at it. It should be, it can have that yellow or light yellow look, sure, but it should be covered in this white. It almost looks like mold, right? But what it is starch, and if you look at it really closely, what you're seeing is that the pasta has little. It's very rough. It's super rough, right? It's not this smooth, cheap extruder crap that it literally like a freaking shiny,
Hyper
titanium
processed.
pole, right?
Yeah.
Man, you want that rough, busted up pasta. You want that because when you use that kind of pasta, and you put a sauce on it, it grabs a hold of that shit and holds on to it. And I'm telling you, if you're not eating your pasta and it's grabbing hold to whatever emulsion you've decided to put upon it, you're not eating it right, right?
Yep.
So what I found was very, very interesting is I made my daughter. She likes a pepperoncino pasta, right? Which is basically an oil and just some spicy spices. That's really it, right? But I made it with clarified butter instead because I made a whole bunch of it and I have it in a thing and I use it all the time. And wow, because I do buy the correct type of pasta. Boy, what a difference, man. My goodness, that was excellent. And my daughter begrudgingly had to admit that daddy did something right.
Well, it's
Are you saying I
interesting
need to buy something other than great value pasta?
Yes.
No, I buy actually a pasta from Italy.
I get from Walmart.
Yeah. Well, how much? Well, no, seriously. How much do you pay for a pack?
Bourgeois.
Well,
That's
no,
a-
seriously. How much do you pay for your box of pasta?
Oh, like a box of spaghetti, $1.19.
$1.19. Now I pay like 10, 12 bucks. So okay,
For
it's a
one
big
box?
ticket. For one box, yeah.
Holy
How
hell!
big's the box, Chester?
Standard, just like your spaghetti box. Very standard.
1 pound of.
Wow.
But the thing is, that box for my wife and I will go what 3 meals?
You really don't eat anything.
Oh, wow.
No, it's interesting because I've often said to people, and some people don't believe it, but it's true. Spaghetti. Let's just stick with the traditional American food, spaghetti. It's way better the second and third day. If you make a nice
yeah.
pot of it and you let it chill out, and maybe even chill it if you want,
Everything's this way, yeah.
it's
like
way
chili.
better.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah, chili is too.
Yeah.
But even if you have the pasta, you have the spaghetti noodles in, you actually mix, because some people don't mix it all in; they leave them separate and then you just apply it yourself. I don't. I'll do that, but I would prefer to just mix it all in, and then the next day the flavor is just ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's
no,
out of this
it is.
world.
And the interesting thing, because over here in Japan, they have what they call chili, but I don't know. I would call it a meat sauce, I guess. But I actually made actual proper chili for my family, and they were like, "What's this?" They had never actually tasted chili, and it's shocking to me how many people don't make chili. They make chili, but it doesn't have any, chilies in it.
Right.
I mean, you don't have to go
Yep.
spicy. Matter of fact, the majority of the chilies you use aren't going to be very spicy, right? They're just kind of normal. But I don't understand how people make chili. Call it chili, but it has no chili. Chili literally is this pureed, food process. Of course, we'll use nowadays. You take chili and you kind of put it in a dry fry pan. You kind of blacken them up a little bit, take that skin off, and then just blender the shit up, and it makes you a chili sauce. Now you could put meat and all other kind of things on top of that. Beans, go away, stop it. Okay, but I'm just saying, I really don't understand. They have no idea what chili is. They think it's just a meat, just a ground beef with like some kind of spice packet put on it, I guess.
Yeah, a lot of people do that over here too. They don't put anything in there.
Well, how hard
Really
is it to
drives
You're
go
not
me
somewhere to
watching the.
pick up a few chilies and just kind of, grill them for a minute and blend it? I mean, how hard is that?
We're
Thundera,
not watching
would
the
Chester
sauteing silverback with Chester Busby.
would do you think Thundera? Do you think Chester would like Skyline?
Ooh, I don't know.
I've never had it
Question.
myself. I've
I
heard
don't
it's
like
really good.
Skyline, so
Oh, okay.
I don't like. I like my chili to have a lot of bite. I like it, not
Okay.
spice, bite. And there's a difference,
Yeah.
and people don't understand the difference. Bite is when you first take a bite; it gets you. It's not sitting in your mouth for 20 minutes burning. It's that first little. Every time you take a bite, it's got that tinge to it. That's what I like my chili to do. And a lot of people around here, they sweeten the hell out of it, and I don't like that. I don't want. If I'm going to eat chili, I want to eat chili. I want to eat something that's got a little bit of oomph in it. I want to think about what I'm doing on the toilet later, what I'm doing in my life. I want whole problems to happen because I ate this meal, and it's just how I prefer it. There's a lot of people who do it with spaghetti sauce too. They sweeten the hell out of it. They put all kinds of brown sugar in it, or just straight
In
white
St.
sugar.
Louis, they put sugar on it after you put it together. After you make your plate, they sprinkle sugar on top of it.
What is this, Elf? What are we doing?
It's disgusting.
Well, I mean, if you are using a tomato base, if you have tomato base, you do need to put a little bit of sugar in there to kill the acid. There are other ways to do it, but that right there will do it real easily. But I mean, if you're putting so much sugar in that it's actually making it super sweet, that's not right.
No, that's how my brother-in-law likes it. He likes it sweet. I'm like, nah.
Yeah, no, you need if you're using you make it spaghetti sauce, any kind of marinara, you need to put a little bit of sugar in there to kill the acid. And if you haven't done that, try it. You'd be surprised. You don't put a ton in there. Put like a teaspoon, man. Maybe.
Yeah, but you're not supposed to put it on like Parmesan cheese when you're making
Yes.
it.
Oh God,
Exactly.
no! What are you doing?
That's what they do in St. Louis.
But
Jeez.
Skyline, I think Chester might actually like Skyline. Skyline's what do I want to call it? A famous Midwestern, comes out of Cincinnati, brand of chili that you
Yeah.
can get in the Midwest here. You can probably get it other places now too, but you can definitely get it here. They sell it in the stores here, canned up and stuff. But because where I live, we have a place called Rudy's Hot Dogs,
Hmm.
and
Ooh.
they have these. You can sometimes get theirs in some of the stores too, but their chili sauce, in my opinion, is by far the best I've ever had. It's great on everything. Great on fries. Great on dogs, obviously, 'cause it's a hot chili dog place. Um, and it's just the right amount of terrible for you. You see, because if you're gonna get something like a chili sauce, not chili con carne, chili sauce, that's what they use. If you're gonna get something like that, it needs to be horrifically greasy, or it doesn't taste good. It just doesn't hold its flavor once you put it on the hot dog. So Rudy's is horrifically greasy. It's terrible for you, but it tastes amazing. Whereas Skyline is a lot less greasy. It's a much more smooth flavor than the greasy one that is, or not smooth is the wrong word, but it's got a less grease. What's the opposite of greasy? Whatever the opposite of greasy is, my brain won't think of. Its flavor's more like that. There's
Oh,
also
I
Tony
see.
Pacos, which is Toledo is famous for.
Oh
Tony
wow.
Pacos. They're a
Yeah, I want to go to St.
Hungarian
Louis, dude. I'm
dogs.
going to sail through
Yeah.
there eventually.
And you're going to stop by, and we're going to go to St. Louis, and we're going to go have dinner with our wives.
We are, and then they're going to talk
like it.
about us, as women do.
Definitely. Yeah, 100%.
Um,
But
but,
yeah, I think Chester might actually like Skyline because one, it's very pretentious because a lot of the people
Oh, fine.
who play the game where they think it's.
Fine.
I used to have friends who would drive all the way to Cincinnati just for Skyline. I'm like, calm down. It's chili. Calm down. There's very few foods in the world I'm driving 3 hours for. Calm
That's
down.
why,
Dude.
I've heard people doing that. I'm like, it's that good? They go, oh yeah. I'm like, well, maybe if I'm ever out there, I'll try it. But,
Dude,
okay.
I grew up on
It's not
government
that good.
cheese. I can eat anything.
That's some good cheese.
It actually is some good cheese. Yeah, don't tell the rich people; they might want it. But
Listen, the best pizza of all time was school lunch pizza. I don't care what anybody says. I could eat all of that. Give me that big slab of pizza where it's literally a slab, like they roll it out like a carpet.
yeah,
Give me that all day.
with
It's
the
so good.
very chunky
Yeah.
cafeteria food ladies who have moles with hair growing out of them. Those ladies.
Listen,
Yeah.
all I know is they're serving up delicious
Love
pizza.
those
That's
ladies.
what I
Yeah.
know.
But like I'm assuming you guys in America can get a hold of De Secco pasta, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
I've seen
that it's a more kind of mainstream Italian pasta, but it's pretty good though. I mean, if that's
Yeah.
your and that's like, see, I'm always translating because I said it was like when I said $10, I meant sen yen. So the one I use is like $8, I guess.
Mhm.
But De Secco is what, $3 for a pound? I guess
Something like
something like that.
Amazon, it's $3. It looks like, yeah.
Yeah. So and De Secco it's not bad. That's a pretty good solid pasta. You can make some good.
Which
That's not bad. It's not bad.
your boy here said he pays $1.19 for a box of pasta. The only boxes of pasta I can get around here for $1.19 are all store brand, unless it's on sale.
Really?
Anything that's remotely a brand name is at least $1.50 or more now.
Well, see, I get the
and
great
even
value
the
Walmart
store
brand.
Oh,
even the
see.
store brand bags, like you can get the egg noodles. Even the store brand bags, except for Meyer around here, is $2 or $3 a bag. That's how
Oh, I
outrageous the
see.
price of pasta has gotten.
We're
It's
getting a
insane.
Meijer
It's gone
soon.
up so much.
Oh,
Nice.
you are. What does that
I'm
mean?
so excited. It's a store.
Just another big store, big department
I
store.
would kind of.
It's a
come to
higher.
know
It's a better Walmart, basically.
It's like a cross between
Yeah.
Walmart and Target if they had a child.
Yeah. So Walmart is the place where dreams go to die, and Meijer is the place where dreams go to shop. That's
Oh,
basically
okay.
how I can describe it. Yeah. Like my wife doesn't even like to go into Walmart if we can avoid it. Sometimes you don't have a choice, but if we can avoid it, we will
Well-
avoid it like the plague.
The last time I went to a Walmart, there was a Kmart across the street. So
Yeah,
What's
good
that?
luck finding one of them. I think they still have them in Canada, Kmart's, but
Oh, they might, yeah.
they don't have them here. They gone.
Yeah, I have no idea, but usually what I do is I buy Montebello is the pasta I buy,
Hmm.
and it's
Nice.
made in Italy. It's really good. It's the kind of pasta you want to cook with because I know it. Some people might think, oh, well, why you even having that conversation? Pasta's pasta. And no, it's not true. It's really not true. Because you need a pasta. If your pasta is smooth like glass, you don't buy it. You want your pasta to be very rough so it clings on to whatever emulsion you're putting it with, right? So
You can also make your own pasta if you have the time, and that's the
yeah,
best.
yeah, you can buy extruders pretty cheap. I think I have no intention of doing it, but I think I saw one for like 170 bucks, 150 bucks, something like that.
KitchenAid mixers have attachments. You
Oh,
can
there you
make
go.
your own pasta.
Yeah,
Boom, real
yeah.
quick and easy. I used to sell them all the time. Pasta makers, usually to old ladies, because that's who's got the time for these things.
Well,
Uh,
I watch a food show semi regularly. Most of my stuff is semi regularly. I guess we're not doing a show today, but that's okay. But there's a show
I
I
was wondering
watch.
what you were supposed to be talking about.
Well, I didn't. I have just the same dumb shit where I talk about computers and food, dude. What's better than that? Um, uh, so, but I watch a show called Alex, and it's this little French dude, and he's absolutely in love with food. And I don't know, he's probably a rich boy or something like that, but he has connection and he gets into all these Michelin chefs and he'll learn how to make this one thing or this one thing and he'll go into every depth possible about how every ingredient is made, right? It's a really cool show. Especially if you're a person who wants to, cook with the best ingredients. And like I said, if you're eating a smaller amount of food, the extra expensive ingredients in the end aren't really that much more expensive, right? But I watched this show Alex, and I was using Disseco, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with Disseco. My wife likes it. You can get it easily here in Japan. But he did a thing on just a basic oil pasta, right? I can't remember what that's called offhand, but it's like a pepperoncino but simpler, just super basic, right? And he wanted to perfect it, so he went look for the best olive oil, etc., etc. And he went on this search to find the best pasta in the world. And he actually traveled to Italy. He's French. He travels all over Europe. He went to Italy. He went to the Montebello factory. He talked to them. He saw the entire process. He did the entire thing. And I pretty much just use Montebello from now on. So, and he was right. You ever seen Alex?
Mm.
mm-mm.
You should check it out.
Nope.
He's French, I understand, but he's one of those passionate, enthusiastic French, which they all are, but in a kind of cute way. And like I said, I don't know if he's a rich boy. I don't know how he's connected, but he he gets in all these Michelin places and they demonstrate how do you cook this? How do you do that? What's the best way to prepare it? How do you set it up? And how often do you get actual, real top end chefs really teaching you how to cook things? That's one of the things I love about Chef Jean Pierre. I mean, he's a little bit more homey, I would say, Eric, but he is a Michelin trained chef.
Yeah, he doesn't seem stuck up or full of himself.
Yeah, not at all.
He's actually kind of goofy.
He is goofy. He's a happy old grandpa. But I mean, and he's much more homey than some of those guys got ego on him, right?
Oh
But
yeah.
but he's giving you really good advice. That's why I like him because he teaches you how to do it. He teaches you. He doesn't just do this thing and show you like who's that guy that's got a huge YouTube channel that's cooking shit all the time. Um Killer production value. What's his
Uncle
name?
Roger?
No, 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 no. He's a younger dude, and I don't know, millions of views. He's probably the top food YouTuber.
I
Um,
don't know.
Damn, I can't think of his name. But I mean, it's fine what he's doing, but he didn't teach you a damn thing. He doesn't teach you anything. You don't learn nothing. It's just food porn, right? Anyway, school lunch pizza is for prisoners, Alan says. All right.
Oh, that was so good, man. Miss it.
Yeah, no, that in a way, it is bit nostalgic. Alan says Kmart in my neighborhood was a shooting range. Homes, or maybe that's supposed to be pronounced homies. Okay. Um, let's see. Roger says, I know we're talking about food, but this weekend I saw a movie where William Dafoe plays Jesus Christ. That was interesting indeed. Yeah, no, it's a good movie. Alan continues, says, I watched The Bear on Hulu, but it's more about unstable dummies than food. I don't even want to know. I don't even want to know. Roger says,
It's not a bad show. It's not a bad show. It's about what a Italian beef place in Chicago. Older brother kills himself. The younger brother is a famous chef. He has to come in and take over for him. But then it's pretty good. I liked it.
okay. So it's a drama.
It's a drama. It's drama comedy kind of
Oh, I
cross.
see. All right. Roger says Gordon Ramsay. Yeah, Gordon is an interesting fellow. He's certainly successful. I've certainly watched some of his shows, and he kind of teaches you how to cook stuff if you go watch his food stuff. But you keep up. Yeah, Gordon is an interesting figure. The thing I much prefer British Gordon to American Gordon, because the British Gordon, he actually really is a compassionate fellow that's out there trying to help people. The American Gordon, like with all British in America, they just for some reason the American media thinks that we want British people to yell at us.
Yes,
I mean, a la
because they
Simon Cowell. I don't,
because they like the dramatization of it.
yeah, I guess. But if you go watch the British Gordon, it's way better because he's actually a pretty nice guy. I mean, you don't want to work for him because he's an absolute dick in that situation. He's a monster, but he comes out of the French kitchens, so that's how they do. But when you look at his British shows, he's a very nice guy. He's very compassionate. He truly wants to help people. It seems. I don't have any problem with Gordon. You guys like or hate Gordon?
Yeah, it's good.
I got no problems with him.
I usually don't watch those shows, but I don't have a problem with him.
He's made a successful career for himself. I know, like season 1 was it or 2 of what was it called? Hell's Kitchen.
Mhm.
Jesus, man, that was horrible. And then there was another one. He had a British show called Kitchen Nightmares, I think it was called. And it was a great show. And then they brought it to America, and it was just a lot of screaming and yelling.
They are two completely different shows watching them.
Radically. Yeah.
Yeah.
I much prefer the British one, right? Yeah.
I agree with you there.
Yeah. But I have to say,
Guess who I got to hang out with this weekend?
ooh, let me see. Lou Ferrigno.
No, I was at a smaller con, so think smaller.
Tony Jaa?
Oh, I can't remember his name. It was Walter, but he's the Black Power Ranger.
Now, the Black Power Ranger isn't the one that murdered someone, right?
No, I don't think so. God, I hope not.
Okay.
He kept bumming cigarettes off me, and we'd go outside and smoke.
Oh, well, that's not a
Which
good
which
sign.
Black Power Ranger, the black one or the Asian one?
Black one, the Black Power Ranger.
The black one. Yeah.
I can't remember his name now. I normally know it, but the black one,
it's
or
Walter
the Asian
something.
one is Johnny Young Bosch.
How does
Walter Jones.
How does their theme song go? Go, go, Power Rangers. Is that it?
You nailed it.
Yep.
Okay.
He was actually a really nice guy. I mean, he saw I was smoking when he got there this morning, and he asked if he could bum a cigarette. I said, sure. So if you need some more, just come find me. I'm over at the Hero Initiative. And later in the day, almost at the end of the day, he came over and we went outside, smoked, and talked about. I didn't know he was as old as he was.
Walter Jones, Roger said. Well, there you go. The only time I ever saw Power Rangers, the show, it was on in a room. I was over visiting my friend. This is decades ago. And there was some little snotty kid running around making trouble. But then again, the woman he was dating was a whore. But anyway, who she had multiple children, and they certainly were not the same father. Certainly not. But anyway, one of those snotty little kids, he had brought in a Chinese pepper plant that he would use for cooking, and he had it sitting up on a like a high, like a, I don't know, it was like a chest. Well, it's like a dresser, but not a dresser. Anyway, it hit it up high, and the kid was saying, "I want one," and he said, "No, you don't." He said, "I want one." And he was going on and on about it, and he was cussing and doing as the project kids tend to do, and so he's like, "Go ahead, get one then." And I watched this whole thing take place, so that was pretty interesting. But I remember that scene very particularly because Power Rangers was on the TV. And it's interesting there because there were 3 kids running around at various ages and colors. And none of them were actually watching the TV. But then when the kid ate the pepper, can he eat the whole thing? Right? Because he was very confident. Everyone watched that. And he had a bad. That kid had. I did feel a little bad for him. He had a bad day because later he was out there mouthing off to someone outside, and they got in a fight, and he got his ass kicked. This kid had a bad day, dude. The pepper challenge and an ass whooping. It's his own damn fault, all of it. But
It's a good problem to have.
I remember when the kid was fighting because none of the adults were stepping in, and I was getting ready to step in because it was enough, right? But then it ended, so I didn't have to. But I do remember that from that fight, the little kid fight, which was kind of cute. For some reason, in the background somewhere, I was hearing "Love by the Dashboard Lights" with Meatloaf.
Okay.
Yeah, memories. That was in the early 90s. So Power Rangers is, my point is, Power Rangers is old.
It's still going.
Yes.
It is, but I had no idea this guy was older than us, Chester.
Yeah, why wouldn't he be? I mean, like when I saw that must have been 93, maybe.
Yeah, but I kind of thought he was a kid then. But no, he told me he was 56 years old. It doesn't show that on Wikipedia and that. He shows only 52.
Yeah, he's a little older enough. Yeah, makes sense.
But he's older. Yeah, yeah, it was fun talking to him. We didn't talk anything about Power Rangers though. We talked about bourbon. We talked about smoking. We talked about stuff like that.
Good stuff.
He was
Proper
happy to talk to me about stuff other than Power Rangers.
I'm sure he was. But I mean, hey, that's his thing, and you got to stick to what brought you, right?
Oh yeah.
Because that is one of the things that irritates me when we talk about these Hollywood idiots, especially the girls. The girls are the worst at this for some reason. I don't know. I don't know why particularly, but you get so many girls that just are disgusted by what made them. Right? Jennifer Lawrence is a perfect example, right? They're just disgusted by that. They don't want to even have to talk about it. You don't see as many guys like that, right? Why do you think that is? Why do you see many more females that are just embarrassed by what made them? Like, who is that kind of cute girl that Brad Pitt married, and she was on a thing called Friends, I think it was, or 30
Jennifer Aniston?
Aniston, that one. You know what movie she started? You know her very first movie?
It was Leprechaun.
Leprechaun Baby. A freaking cult classic. She is horrifically embarrassed by doing that. I'm like, baby, that is one of the coolest single shot horror movies of all time, dude.
Yeah.
Anyway, these assholes. Let's talk about someone who is not an asshole but was vilified. I figured I probably should do at least some of what I set up. Yeah. So
You might wanna.
might wanna. I don't know. We got into cool conversations though. Paul Rubens has passed away, which I know everybody knows. We've had a few deaths the past week. Sinead O'Connor seemed like she self-deleted, is what it sounds like. But I'm not horribly surprised by that. That lady's mentally disturbed. Paul, however,
radical lefty.
extreme, yeah.
It seems to be their fate when they get that radical.
Yeah, it's
She,
still sad for her
yeah,
family,
she also
though.
had a her 17-year-old son killed himself last year too.
Right, I
Yeah,
wonder why.
I'm pretty sure that she
Can't
did the son.
imagine.
Yeah.
Can't imagine what drove all of that to happen.
Yeah.
That's probably what drove her, unfortunately, to do it. Is at some deep recess of her mind, she understood that it was her fault.
Maybe.
That her son
I have
died.
no idea. Although, to be fair, I don't want to be mean because no matter what your political leaning is, the loss of a child, especially in such a horrific way, that's rough, dude. That's rough. I can
Horrible.
I can only imagine. I can only
My
imagine.
only sympathies go out to the young man. He didn't even get to be a man
No.
because of whatever caused him to feel that much level of self-hatred and despair. I have no sympathies for her at all.
Yeah.
She got less than she deserved. Scumbag all the way around.
Yeah,
Miss Connor.
she's pretty horrible.
Rotten piss.
Well, I'm not going to be that mean.
I will.
The dead and all. But I can't relate. But when my daughter was diagnosed, when she was 2, when she was diagnosed with leukemia, and she basically had a 10% life expectancy at that time. And it did go up because they said, well, we have a new type of chemotherapy, but it's not covered by insurance. Would you like it? Yes, please. As if I had a
Right.
choice, bastards. But she survived it, and she's doing just fine. But however, that initial strike, that hit, right? It's impactful. I mean, I know Eric's got a bunch of kids. Have you ever had that kind of scare?
Yeah, actually a couple times. One of the children has Chitari malformation.
I don't know what that is.
It's a protrusion in the base of your skull, and they had to do surgery on that. So they basically, and because if they don't take care of it, it could paralyze you. I mean, it keeps growing and it starts to dig into your spinal column.
Oh, that's not good.
So they had to go in and actually shave it down.
Wow.
And that was very scary. But
I bet.
Yeah. Other than that, yeah, I mean, there's some minor things. One's partially deaf, and she's gone in and had one of those cochlear implants done.
Nice.
Any time that something like that happens, when they're drilling in your head, you're worried about that too.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
No,
But most of it's been pretty normal. But yeah, there's been a few scares.
I bet you every family has, yeah. But
I mean, I can't imagine you're just. I mean, it scares me anytime I hear you talk about it. I mean,
it was
Just to
pretty
me.
brutal. And the good thing about it was, I took care of a lot of the unpleasantness myself. So my
Mm.
wife didn't have to deal with that. But in general, she was
good.
yeah, which is good. Because I'm much more worldly than she is, right? She's literally a little country girl. But she handled it well, and it actually, our relationship was great anyway, but it made it stronger, as those kind of things should. It's unfortunate how often those kind of things break up relationships, but it didn't have that effect on
Mhm.
us. Quite the opposite. But nevertheless, the rough part of it was, um, my daughter was born, and until 2 years old, she was a redhead. That's gone, right? Because she lost her
Mhm.
hair many times during that process. 7-year process, by the way. But there were several things. Many times they gave her shots all the time, of course, because they are using chemotherapy. They went into their spine because they have to take spinal fluid out. That's where they check to see how the white blood cells are doing, right? And through every one of those things, the girl never cried, never cried.
Aw.
She was a tough little cookie. And they actually put a tube into her chest so they could get the medicine more directly and less invasive. I put literally putting a tube into her chest. I don't know how that's less invasive, but whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm the one that went into the doctor's room all the time, not my wife. And I'm
Hmm.
the one every day at home who cleaned the tubes and gave her the medicines through the tubes and all that kind of stuff. I'm the one who did all that stuff. Yeah, I know it sucked balls, dude. Right? But we did get through it. But I'm just saying that I, of course, didn't lose a child, but I understand the pang of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
My grandmother outlived all of her siblings but one, and there was 13 of them. And
Like
she
my
was the
grandma.
oldest. She was the oldest, and she outlived both her children
Yeah, that sucks. Yeah.
and 2 husbands. I couldn't imagine what she was going through.
Yeah, that's rough. I've had a lot of we all have had a lot of death around us, but I luckily haven't had anything too close. I mean, I lost my mom, but she was an older lady. I mean, it's kind of natural. It's different, right?
Yeah.
I've had some friends pass away from stupid reasons. Like I said, of my initial friend group, I'm the only one left, right? And most of them died for stupid reasons, right? That's the irritating one. I had a friend I lost to cancer, car crash, but most of my friends died from drug related shit or
Mm.
alcohol. And it's like, you know, because I partied my ass off when I was a high school kid. I mean, and especially when I was after during university and after as trying to become a professional musician, I partied my ass off, right? But you know, then I got married and stopped, you know, grow up, you know, do your job, take some responsibility. But they
Some
didn't.
people skip that step. They skip the
It's
growing up
weird.
and take some responsibility step. Yeah.
It is weird. But and they didn't, and they're all dead because of it. So you know, Paul here is a different situation. I've always appreciated Paul Rubens. Even if you don't care for his shtick, he's the American discount Rowan Atkinson. Okay, fine. But still, he's ours. And I liked his shtick. His comedy is way deeper than you think it is. I've always appreciated Paul. Now I know he had a little bit of scandals, and once again, it's a stupid scandal though. But whatever. But I liked Paul, and you know he just died, and we found out that he's been battling cancer for 7 years. That's rough, dude.
Yeah.
That's rough. And he lost the battle. We just lost my wife's uncle, who battled cancer for similar length of time. Not, I think it was more like 5 years. But and because here in Japan, they're not like we are, right? When you go to the funeral home, um, they will do a lot of work to make you look as good as you can if you're going to have an open casket, which we prefer, right? Here in Japan, they don't do anything, right? And I think it's religious reasons, something to do with the Buddhism. I don't really know the details of it. However, if it's so bad, well, they'll just have a closed casket. But they don't, of course, they prefer not to do that. But therefore, there was no work done to him whatsoever. He's sitting in the casket. It has a glass top on it, is how they do here, like a half glass top. And they didn't even bother to sew his mouth shut, right? So his mouth's agape.
Oh.
His
Jeez.
because I hadn't seen him in years because he's been in the hospital, right? And I'm not immediate family, right? But I did like him though. He's one of the sweetest humans you ever met in your life. I mean, too nice to be honest with you. But his face was so emaciated. I mean, my God, dude. He looked like a skeleton in the box. His skin was so tight. He had so little fat. I could imagine he's under 2% fat at that moment. It's ridiculous. It's shocking what cancer does to you because it's slow. Usually, if you get cancer and it kills you, you got 6 months to live. Consider yourself lucky. Honestly. Because this slow ass cancer sucks balls. 7 years, and of course, because he has fame and money, it's probably why it was drug out that long. Is because he has the course they're going to try to save him, right? 7 years of dealing with cancer, dude. Oh, that's brutal. Brutal.
Nah, nah. I don't need life that much.
No,
I'd,
no.
I'd go out with a blaze of glory and then find some very fast way to make sure I die.
Yeah, no. I mean, you know,
Plus,
I
plus
kind
my
of
wife doesn't need those medical bills after I'm dead, and
or
just like
the
it's just
torturous memory.
Yeah.
I
yeah,
mean,
or the having to wipe my ass because I'm
yeah.
too weak to do it. That kind of nah,
Yeah,
it ain't
it's
worth it.
weird. I mean, and some of the things they do here too, I don't. the way I shouldn't say Japanese, Asians, Buddhists deal with death, because in many places around Asia, Buddhism is for death, right?
Hmm.
They handle that part of it. And then there's usually some kind of local religion that is a life thing. Here in Japan, it's Shindo, or Westerners probably call it Shinto. But that's more for day-to-day life, which is a animistic religion. But Buddhism is for death, and they have certain rules. And one of the things they do is they burn the body, but then you as the family group, you collect the bones out of the burn, right, and put it into a little pot. And I've been to many of these, and I don't understand because if I'm so unlucky that my wife should pass before me, ain't no way I'm doing that shit, dude. Ain't no
Yeah.
way. I will kill a motherfucker,
Right.
right? No, because literally when the body comes out, the bones are, they're incredibly burned, but it's still intact. So you have this twisted skeleton looking at you. Why would you want that to be the last image you have of your loved one? I don't get that shit. And then you're picking the bones up and everyone's kind of putting them into a pot, and every now and then the funerary person is crushing them down. And trust me, burned brittle bone makes quite the crunch.
Yeah, that doesn't sound great.
No, dude. No. And it's hard enough with someone that's not your wife, right? I
Yeah,
mean, these some of them I know better than others. The last one, like I said, I actually liked him. He was a super sweet guy. He was a good human, right? I liked him, but I didn't know him that well. I don't know any of them very well. But yeah, no. If I doubt it because my body is riddled with scars and wounds and breaks. I just don't think there's any way I'm going to live longer than my wife. But boy, if that should happen, I'm not doing that, dude. They can
Well,
do it.
she's also sweet and kind, so
Yeah,
you
well,
have a lot of bile and vileness in you, Chester. I think that'll
I
get
do.
you in the end.
Well, I might just I might just live forever then.
Well, you could be one of those evil bastards who just refuses to die.
Maybe.
I had an aunt like that. She
It's
just
possible.
refused to
Yeah.
die,
Yeah.
just so she could make other people miserable.
No, that's fine. That's good.
That was it.
That makes good.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes good. But anyway, safe journeys, Paul. I actually rather liked his various characters. Pee Wee Herman, of course, is his most popular one, but I rather like Paul. I've always kind of
Yeah,
found
he's a
him
good actor.
endearing. What did you guys think about him?
He was a good actor. He was very underrated. Pee Wee Herman, while his, like you said, his biggest success was also his biggest lodestone because he could just never get out from behind
It
it.
was genius, though, dude.
Yeah.
It was genius. I mean, I understand. Like I said, I know he's no Rowan Atkinson. I get it. But I like Paul. What do you think, Grimlock?
I'd say he's the closest thing we ever had in America to Mr. Bean.
I don't know, absolutely. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
our Rowan Atkinson, that's for sure. Grimlock,
Yeah.
what do you think about
Oh.
Paul Rubens?
As I was me and a couple of my friends was talking about it the day he died. If for kids of our generation, if that wasn't a gut punch to the childhood, I don't know what
Yeah.
is.
No, that's right.
Yeah.
Because that was, that was part of my Saturday morning routine. Getting up,
Pee-wee's Playhouse, man.
Pee-wee's Playhouse right after Ninja Turtles. That was the thing, and like. And the weird thing is Pee-wee's there was two versions of Pee-wee's Playhouse. People tend to forget. There was the original version, which was more adult orientated. It was a bit more risque. Not like full on dirty, but
Yeah, it's innuendo on the extreme, dude. Yes.
Jokes that would go way right over a kid's head.
What was the girl's the little helper nurse kind of lady? What was her name? Patty?
Oh, man.
What was her name?
Patty.
What was it, Eric? What
You had
was
a
her?
bunch of characters.
Well, I thought it was Dottie, wasn't it?
Dottie. Yeah, I knew there was an
Dottie.
E in there. Oh, dude, there's so much sexual innuendo with that girl. So much. Yeah, no, Paul knew what he was doing. Alan brings up an interesting thank you conversation. Yes, Asians do a lot of weird shit. You gotta understand, majority of cannibalism throughout history, Alan, is not the kind of thing you see on the Hollywood movie where someone group of people crash in an airplane and they're desperate to survive and they eat the dead. That's not cannibalism. That's surviving a situation. Cannibalism throughout history is 99% of showing respect for your elders or for your enemy. It's a ceremonial thing, right? And throughout the world, there are examples of it. But it only survives in the modern world here in Asia. And there are many places in Asia that still have that type of cannibalism. India, Bangladesh, Indonesia, Malaysia, Papua New Guinea, just Guinea in general, New Guinea in general. And I imagine in the backwoods of Southeast Asia, and China, you probably have some of it too. But it's very ceremonial. And at least it's the human ash, which is far safer because meningitis is a thing. Because usually the flesh that they're eating is the brain, actually. But anyway, for that wonderful conversation, thank you very much, Alan. But keep in mind, Asians are also. My wife was so excited to get this. I looked at her sideways, triple time, Eric, triple time sideways, right? She was so excited. She got this special coffee from I think Malaysia or Thailand. Or I think it's Thailand. It's the cat shit coffee.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, as soon as you said it, I knew what it was.
There's a bag of it. I can see it. It's right.
Have you tried
there.
it? Have you tried it?
No.
All right, go try it right now. Come on.
No.
Do it on air.
Doing it. Ain't doing it. I don't.
Surprised you don't eat it anyway or drink it anyway. I figured that'd be
All
one of
I
your
know.
top things.
All I know is that is one of the most successful psyops I've ever seen in my life. They've convinced women all over the world and some men to drink cat shit.
It's so stupid, dude. It's like it's unnecessary.
Coffee is one of the purest, honestly, unironically, one of the purest things we can distill and ingest.
Yeah, because there's no chemicals on it. It's just
nothing. It's
coffee
just
bean.
the bean.
Yeah.
Yes. And yet, for some reason, people always want to make it horrific for you.
Yeah.
Black coffee is unbelievably healthy. It's unbelievably good for you. But for some reason, people want to do everything they can to make it not so. Yeah. Everything they can. I don't drink coffee, period. I think it all tastes like piss. But I'm not going to be like, you know what? I think this tastes terrible. Let's put shit in it. That'll make it better. That'll spice it up.
Yes. Well,
Jeez.
Alan is adding to the conversation. He says the genie from Pee-wee's Playhouse is cremated in his genie box at the Hollywood Cemetery. Oh, that's interesting. Alan also says, can't wait to marry a cannibal so she can eat my ass. Now, I have a question. I've seen a lot of comedies and jokes going around. What is the obsession with America and what is the correct term? It's called rim job, I believe, from our generation, Eric.
Eating ass.
That is still the phrase.
Yes. So what the hell's going on, America?
I don't know that. Yeah, I'm blaming that strictly on you white people because I didn't hear that until I started hanging around white people.
Yeah, no.
Probably.
We are the innovators.
Yeah, that's true.
I'll admit I tried it once.
Yeah, but
wait. Were you the giver or the receiver?
Actually, both. But I will tell you this. You can't brush that out of your mouth. I don't care how many times you do it or mouthwash. It's there. You don't taste it. You smell it. And it's like disgusting. I didn't do it again.
Dude,
my goodness,
dude.
I'm sure this is the TFT everybody came to hear.
Yes, TFT alert. Well, no. Seriously. Therefore, I have a question. Therefore, I have a question.
I was a teenager, dude. Come on.
I don't. I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm not mocking you for it. I'm not. I don't
Okay,
mock people
okay.
for things like that. I'm not the giving. I'm not interested in. The getting. No. What is the appeal? Because when like I've asked a few gay dudes, right? Why do you like sodomy? What is good about it? Because it's from my point of view, because I've never tried it. From my point of view, that doesn't seem pleasant.
Well,
Because I have taken shits before and they can be painful. So I don't know why I would want this constant state of pain in my ass. I mean, yeah, I'm a dude, I can tough it up, but why would I want to? Why should I have to? And I have not got a satisfactory answer from a gay dude of
well,
why they're
Chester, I
into it.
can
You're trying
can
to take a
explain it.
logical approach to this. That's why.
I can explain it to you. It's
Oh,
very simple
fuck.
because what they do is they finagle the positions so that they can hit the prostate from the back, and they're effectively just milking the prostate. You can go to the doctors, and if for some reason you have problems ejaculating, they can milk quite. They call it milking you. Milk your prostate from that angle
Yeah, but
and literally force an ejaculation. That's why.
huh,
They say they say, according to the ones I knew when they used to be my friends before they moved off. They loved it. They were
so
big fans. Couldn't get enough.
but you're basically taking the hard way around.
Yes.
Just get
Yes.
a girl on your knob. I mean,
No.
what's
They
the
don't
why
like.
go for all of that extra nonsense?
Listen, I'm going to tell you right now. If I was gay, there'd only be blowjobs in my life. That's what I'm just telling you right now. If for some reason I decided to suck the pole, swing for the other team, there'd be none of that nonsense. It would be all. We'll be taking
Yeah.
care of each other the manly
Well,
way.
anyway,
Chester, the manly.
I don't get it. I personally don't get it. I'm not judging it. I just don't get it. Okay, so it seems like it's just a bunch of extra activity for an easier solution. All right, fine. So my question in relation, Eric, is what's the appeal of the rim job? Does it feel good?
Not really. I mean, it didn't do nothing for me. It was just, we were teenagers. Oh, I've heard about this. You want to try that? Okay, I'll try that. And yeah, neither one of us was really into it. Now, who else? Is it just Hal in here and a couple other? Okay, so this is very embarrassing, Chester.
Well, no, I mean it's all right. We all did stupid shit when we were kids. I've never licked
this
ass
is
though. Like I had.
mid-20s. Okay,
All right.
I had a girlfriend, and I wanted to try, anal, of course.
Sure.
And she was like, well, okay, but only if I could try it on you. I really wanted to try it on her. So she did try it. And I never asked for it again after that because it's so uncomfortable and horrible and disgusting.
You need the right kind of girl to do anal. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You need the right
Yeah,
kind
but
of girl.
I'm telling you how it feels. That's why I would never request it to do it again,
Well-
because it feels like you're trying to take a shit is what it is, and it won't come out. That's what it feels like.
That was my
And it
question.
hurts.
Yeah,
That
no,
was
I
my
would.
question.
Yeah, that's my point. It was
Why
like,
you
what's
were
the point?
whether you were a giver or receiver. That was why I was asking, because to me, being a giver of it, like say your chick's into backdoor stuff, and
Yeah.
she decides you decide you're okay with doing that, giving her a rim, basically eating ass as they call it.
Mhm. Yeah.
I think that's fine. That's not, to me, that's not way over the line. But receiving it, that just seems like wrong. I don't know how else to
Well,
describe it. It just feels wrong. Like I'm like, nah.
Yeah,
I'll
no, I
tell you,
understand
leave that
that.
alone.
I understand that,
It-
but I don't really.
Oh,
That
fuck.
doesn't bother me as much. I'm just.
Oh,
It doesn't
it-
seem appealing.
It did feel
The
wrong.
howls
It
got me
felt
over here
very
freaking
wrong.
I bet it did. Yeah, it just seems like an odd thing. I don't understand,
Yeah.
but I did date a girl way back. And I don't know what exactly was wrong with this girl, but she preferred anal.
Wow, that's unusual.
Yeah. But the thing is, in the because I've done that a few times, but the thing with it is though, I never did the rim job part of it. I just kind of in it goes, right? Um, so I don't know.
Well, the other thing with it is you want to make sure because people are different. So some women I know from experience only like to do it if they have some sort of stimulation on their clitoris as well,
They can take
and
care of that. I mean, God,
it
don't
can
be so
cause
damn lazy. Get on it, woman.
it can cause a hell of an orgasm for them
Oh no,
if they
no. The
like it.
ones who like it they like it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
I just
yeah,
don't
they love
understand
it.
it myself. I don't get it. I don't get it. But I do know that it
Well,
would
I wouldn't recommend it.
no, no, I'm not gonna. I have no interest in trying it. But I did find one thing that was very interesting because, like Grimlock says, I overthink everything, right? Logically. But I do remember the fact that I had one finger in one hole and another finger in the other hole, and I could actually kind of touch my fingers together. That was neat.
Can
I'm
yeah, that
just
is interesting.
Yeah, that was
it's
interesting.
just it's just hilarious because you're trying to go through this from like a scholarly point of view, and I'm surprised he
Well, and
hasn't
how
brought
else?
out the projector board, and it's like, well, look, we're gonna look up the history of the rim job.
Well, I mean, how else am I supposed to look at it? Because I don't understand. And from, like I said, the conversation I've had with people who have done that, particularly with gay guys who've done it more than one little, tired try when they were a kid, they can't give me a good reason as to why they enjoy it.
Yeah,
So I have zero interest in that. It doesn't sound like a good time at all, dude. At
You know
all.
what it is? They're kind of limited on what they can do to each other.
Well,
Maybe.
they're not designed for that.
They're
That's
not
why.
designed for it. Yeah. Fair enough. The of chili dog. I don't know what that means, Alan. But anyway, we'll move on. Appropriate conversation for Paul here for a nice send off. Thank you, Paul. All right, let's continue on here. Home box office, box office mojo. I just wanted to check up real quick and see what's going on. So it looks like we're going to talk about this one here in a minute. But we got some interesting things going on here. So Barbie, let's take a look at some top to bottom this time. $500 million, dude. $500
Go
million.
ahead and read them off because I'm not by my computer at the moment. So what are we looking at?
I mean, it's 1 million. Like I said, the easiest thing, especially the big blockbuster things. Smaller movies, it's a little bit harder to calculate. But if you look at the worldwide, cut it in half, that's pretty much what the company's got in their pocket, right?
Yeah.
They've definitely made their money back without question,
For
and
which
they've
movie?
probably made 100 million plus. So this is a success, which means you're going to get more of it. Joy, joy.
Which movie? What are we talking about?
Barbie.
Oh no, they're almost to $1 billion from what I understand. Yeah.
They are. They're at a billion. I just said. So, but you got to cut that
Apparently the
money in half.
estimates are about 1.3 billion is where it's going to top off at.
Yep. Ridiculous.
No, that's fine. Let them make more of it. Listen, Chester, I'm fine with it. I have so little interest in what that wing of Hollywood does.
Mhm.
We say it all the time. If that's what they want to make, fine. More
Oh
power
no,
to them.
I don't care what they make. They can make whatever they want. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the $1 billion spent of worldwide people that chose to indulge it. Is what I'm
Well,
talking
here's
about.
the thing, because we have a lot of men who've seen it. Probably, I would assume, at the behest of their significant others. Cucks. Uh, we got a lot of them, and it's interesting. We're seeing all these reports and all these articles now coming out from these feminists, mainstream media outlets talking about how men are viewing the Barbie movie wrong. They're watching it wrong because to a lot of men, unironically, there's a meme going around to this, but I think it's actually, there's a lot of truth in these memes. A lot of men look at it in like Ken is a tragic hero. You see, he was
Yeah,
a
no,
savior, a liberator,
we
and he was
mentioned that
destroyed.
day one,
Yeah.
didn't we? Yeah, we mentioned.
So
that.
I think we're looking at a very interesting Rorschach test here because you can
Maybe.
look at that movie and see nothing but pure radical crazy feminism, which absolutely that's what it is.
Yeah.
But you can also look at the exact same movie and see a hero's journey gone awry,
Right. Look,
and that's interesting.
it is. People, daughters. That's probably. It's that simple, Alan. I know it's not a big deal. But I did see this Hollywood dude came up and says, "Oh, you men are just being babies about the Barbie thing," and it's like, yeah, I do believe there's a movie about kids, and this guy's trying to save the kids from horrible shit. You guys been
Yeah.
whining about that from day one. So who's the baby?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good point.
Yeah, good point.
I have absolutely no interest in seeing this Barbie movie, and it's a shame because I like Ryan Gosling. I think he's a good actor.
Yeah, no, he is a good actor. Yeah.
And I saw one little clip. It was just like a GIF of him walking. Obviously, it was when he decided to be the bad guy, and he's got on this big long coat and this headband, and looks very bad guy-y.
Yeah.
And I saw him walking, and just that, like, I don't know, 5-second GIF. I was like, ooh, he should be a bad guy in more stuff. He's got the sauce. Like,
No, no,
he
he's a
had
good actor.
menace.
He's got
Yeah.
presence. Wasn't he in that movie with Chris Evans? Here, the Gray Man. Wasn't he
believe so.
Wasn't he the hero?
I believe so.
Maybe it was him. Yeah, no, he's a solid actor. Anyway, let's go here and see how the Oppenheimer is doing. Half as much money, so this has made about 250 million. I would imagine it's actually made its money back for the type of
Oh,
film
for
it is.
sure. I would hope. Shit, there's what? I mean, how much? Well, it is Nolan. He is ridiculous.
He is.
He
but
is
I
very
heard it was
pedantic
$100
about
million.
things.
So yeah, so this is fine.
Well, and the other thing is the Barbie movie is a cultural moment, but not for the reason that the politicized people think it is. It's going to be one of those movies that's around forever, strictly because it's the first live action Barbie movie. So it's going to be it's a evergreen type situation, even with all of that loaded
Right.
stuff in it.
No, it is what
Whereas
it is. Right?
Oppenheimer is going to be
Yeah.
like most of Nolan's movies, forgotten in 5 years. So,
Yeah, no, Nolan is
Forgotten
long-winded.
5 years. I give that shit 6 months.
6 months.
I was
There you
being
go.
generous because he made the Dark
Nobody's going to
Knight.
be talking. Nobody's going to be talking. By the time Thanksgiving comes around, nobody's going to be talking about Oppenheimer.
Look
That's true.
how hardcore Haunted Mansion is bombing. Look at it.
I love it.
Of course.
See, now that
well,
is the win.
again, it was a remake that nobody asked for.
And the first one wasn't
As-
popular anyway.
No, because remember why people was ripping that movie? Remember back in the day when Eddie Murphy did Delirious and he ripped on white people for being in the haunted house, and then 15 years later you're doing a fucking movie about being in a haunted house and
Yeah. I remember that routine. Yeah.
everybody was ripping on him for like, what the fuck, Eddie?
Of course, but he was, I think, being sarcastic because I've never seen
Yes.
anyone freak out as much as black people.
That's true.
Yeah, I think he was
Especially
being
at
sarcastic.
Ghosts.
Especially ghost
Bro.
and water.
Somebody
Yeah.
wanted me to do a cross because a black cat crossed a car.
Yep.
I'm not
Yep.
doing that.
Yep.
Well, think about this. You watch all these ghost hunting shows. How many black people you see up in there hunting ghosts? That's all I'm saying. It's usually a whole lot of crackers. Whole lot of them.
Two places you're not finding niggas in ghost hunting shows and any show that's like the Crocodile Hunter. We'll watch that shit. We ain't gonna be in it.
That's true. Dude, one of the funniest black moments I've ever had in my life, and I will remember forever because it's such a precious memory. This is way back in the 80s, I think. And I'm in this big old Eric. You remember those gigantic station wagons? I mean, they were literally the size of a boat.
Yeah.
You remember those? Well, I'm going down the road. One of my friends had one of those, and the car is literally filled with, I don't know, 8 people, maybe. It was just packed, right? I was the only white boy in the car. Everyone else was black. And I don't mean mulatto, I mean black. They're actually black Americans. And we're driving down the road. We're going up to Salem for a big old, shindig party, right? And it was great fun. But we're driving along, and we came. We were just got into Massachusetts, and we're heading up. We're kind of trying to bounce around Boston to get up into Salem, right? And so we kind of took this side road. We're driving along, and then we came across this gigantic cemetery. It was really big, both sides of the road. Big, huge cemetery. Every one of those dudes in the car took a deep breath and held their breath until we were past it. It was
I
freaking
believe
That
it.
is some
hilarious,
superstitious
dude.
shit.
Yeah, no, it is. It
That
was
is some.
hilarious. I'm like, I literally asked this,
Oh,
what the hell are you guys, what the hell are you doing? They just look at me holding their breath. Of course, they didn't answer. Later, they said, man, the spirit might get in, man. That was awesome. That was awesome. But whatever. You know,
but yeah,
go ahead.
I was just sitting here thinking, since they like race swapping everything, just because I know Captain Canada's around somewhere, let's do a Crocodile Hunter biopic on Netflix with Michael B. Jordan
Oh,
as Steve Irwin.
oh, that would be great. Let's do that. Let's do that. But you know, I don't mind them taking failed movies and trying to remake them because that's
Give it another
exactly what the
shot.
'80s was, right?
Yeah.
The '80s
Yeah.
was a bunch of old failed movies that were remade. There's so many '80s movies you don't realize are remakes because the
Oh yeah.
originals sucked, and that's the way to go. Take a failure that was a good idea and try to make it successful. Don't take a classic and try to redo it, which is they're doing these days. So the idea of doing this isn't necessarily a bad one. It's just simply fumbled.
Well, then they also changed up the formula in this Haunted Mansion movie. It went from being about a family to about a single mom. And it's
Of
like,
course, of course,
Of course
Hollywood
they
can't
did.
stand. The only reason that Hollywood even allowed a family in the first one was because Eddie was in it, right?
yeah, Eddie
That's
probably
it.
demanded it,
Because
to be honest.
Hollywood hates families. They hate families, dude. They can't stand it.
It's
Now
kind
they'll.
of funny because how utterly degenerate a lot of his comedy routine is. I mean, let's be honest, it is.
Oh yeah, well it's just
Eddie's old stuff. His movies aren't. All of his movies are either basically your '80s style movie or just wholesome as hell. He seems like a totally wholesome guy, to be honest.
he
Like the
probably is.
closest he came, like the you could say like the raunchiest movie he had outside of his stand up was Boomerang.
Yeah.
Or Harlem Nights. You could, either one of those two.
Well, I like
Even though
prefer.
Harlem Nights is a
I
classic.
kind of rather prefer a Vampire in Brooklyn, to be honest with you.
Oh
Um,
man.
Dude, if
I
they had let Eddie do what he wanted to do, because he didn't want to do any comedy in that at all. He wanted to be straight horror, and you can see that when you watch the movie. If they had
Yeah.
stopped with their bullshit, it's Eddie Murphy. He's gonna have comedy in it. If they had stopped that shit and just let him do what he wanted to do, dude, that movie would have been epic. I'm telling you.
But I will say this: John Witherspoon in that movie, fucking hilarious.
It's true. It is true.
When he sees him, and if flip, if turn, that flip flop shit.
Yeah, it was good,
John, the
dude.
madman.
Look at Tom Cruise's film. It's not even made as much money as Oppenheimer.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
It's very weird.
And I saw it. The wife and I randomly.
It's probably clear though.
last
It's probably
week-
okay.
The wife and I randomly last week went and saw it, and it's really good. It's
I
it's
bet
a
you it is
really
great.
really good Mission Impossible movie. It is a part one. Hopefully, they eventually get to finish part two once these crybabies stop crying. But yeah, no, I was pleasantly surprised. It's spoiler. It's the most sci-fi one yet.
Oh, that's cool. I like that.
yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, it's very interesting where they went with it. I'm not going to spoil the whole thing, but it's very interesting where they went with it.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna watch it. I am gonna watch it, for sure. It's just interesting that it's I think they made their money back though. I think they're even.
Does
Yeah, and they've
Haley
got
Atwell
another
get
one.
topless?
Huh?
No, and unfortunately,
Shoot.
the boobies are pretty well hidden most of the movie.
Oh well, it is what it
Burn.
is. Yeah, this one's on the edge. I don't know if it's going to make its money back or not. It's close. It's tight. But it's shocking. Let's see what else we got. Dial of Destiny is our huge bombs, just major bombs, right? Literally
Yeah.
$370 a theater. It's sad. It's sad, dude. That is. Someone needs to be slapped hardcore. An Indiana Jones movie in no way should be making such pathetic money. Anyway, Sound of Freedom still banging on, dude. Jeez, this movie, dude.
It's good.
It hasn't
good.
even dropped
Isn't it about to
internationally.
get an international release though?
Yeah. And
Not
this
yet.
movie is already made its money, made money. Because I mean, how much did it cost? 10 million, maybe 20.
It wasn't much, but now they're trying to come out. There was some article that came out last week, and one of the guys I know brought it up to me. It's like, dude, that has nothing to do with it. One of the funders, when it was on Indiegogo to try to get the movie funded. The
Yeah.
funders, like a backer, was
Mhm.
arrested 2 weeks ago for kidnapping.
Yeah, well, there's bad
Like,
people
okay,
in the
that's
world.
that's if one of my backers gets arrested for kidnapping. What does it have to do with me? Nothing. Nothing to
Well,
do with
and
the
then the
movie.
case, what he's actually accused of isn't even really kidnapping. It just is if you're being very legalistic. I guess, from what I understand, somebody, like their kid got locked in his house or something, and then they called in, and it was just a big drama that isn't isn't at all kid. There's a tweet about it explaining what actually happened.
Oh,
It,
the
it's not
media's
even
twisting
close.
something to their advantage.
Yes,
Hmm.
yes,
Yeah.
of course they are.
Say it isn't
But
so.
And it
they're
was here in
trying
St.
to
Louis
turn him
too.
into a child trafficker, and it wasn't. That
Yeah,
isn't
it's
at
kinda
all what was
ridiculous.
happening. Yeah.
Let's take a look here now. The original Meg, it's just a dumb popcorn movie, but I enjoyed it. And this is not doing well. That's certainly not made its money back. That's 70 million. It's not. That's too bad. This one they
Well, it just
certainly
came
up.
out too.
Yeah, no, we'll
That
give
just one
it some
weekend.
time, right? But I'm sure I'll watch this because it was fun little stupid movie, dude. But the one I really want to look at is this one right here.
I love to see it.
Because we're going to talk about this today, and I might as well do it right now because this right now is first weekend, but it's made $25 million. You know, with the people involved, the studios involved with Paramount, this is a $100 million movie at least. At least.
Yep.
It's probably closer to 150. We'll just go with 100 million. Plus you double that, so you look at 200. This thing needs to make 200 million just to break even. We're not getting there. It ain't happen. So here's another bomb. All right. And here's the thing, though. This, frickin', bounding into comics, get rid of this stupid border. But go ahead.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem director attempts to explain away gay Splinter. Paramount deletes evidence. Love to see it.
Now, I know the Turtles. I saw it. It's a little bit younger generation. It's like my brother's generation. But I certainly watched the Turtles. That first live action movie they did was freaking awesome.
Still awesome.
It was
To
a
this day.
really
Watch
good
it.
movie, dude. And that's what I know most about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But I've watched other stuff and read comics and stuff. And sure, it's an American. It's part of the fabric of America. TMNT. But here's one thing I do know, even though I'm not the guy to come to if you want to know everything about Turtles. I do know, emphatically so, that Splinter is not gay.
Yeah.
I do know that. Matter of fact, because he's the sensei guy, he's not sexual at all. Right now, what
Correct.
was it? Michelangelo or Donna? One of the guys was sweet on the girl there. Which one was that?
In April it was Don. It was Donnie,
It was
depending on
Donatello,
which
right?
version you were watching.
April O'Neil, yeah.
Yeah.
The
So
nerdy one.
there was a little bit of that kind of teenage, the a la Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles going on, but that's it. Certainly had nothing to do with Splinter. The thing that's even weirder is we have a male character called Scumbug, which is not a character I know. I don't recognize. Jackie Chan is
Comic.
voicing Splinter, which is cool. But I don't know this character at all, but I know it's a dude, and it is a dude, Scumbug as himself, and they literally have a scene where Splinter and he are making out, and making out. Literally, the movie has a homosexual scene with Splinter. Literally,
Love it.
literally. Yeah. Is an OG character. Yeah, I'm not the dude to talk to about it, Alan. I don't recognize the character. There's like a couple of big dudes I would recognize. I can't even remember. Rocksteady, I think, is one of their names.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know the Scumbug. But beyond that, which is just no. And in this article, they say, "Oh no, we always intend." Now, the character I understand originally was male. And they're saying that no, we changed her into a female. The poster people screwed it up. Although
No,
in the
they
movie,
didn't.
the voicing and mannerism is certainly male. So
Clearly male.
stop lying. Yeah, stop it. But other than that, we'll get to April in a minute. But look how ugly this is. It's ugly, dude.
Yep.
Look at this
That's
weird.
what Colin called it lately.
It's an artistic style, I guess. What would you call this, Eric? Painterly?
Shit.
Nothing.
Is Eric here? He's quiet.
He's quiet. But it's
Quiet,
just
dude.
so ugly, dude. It's really, really ugly. I don't like the look of it at all. And I've seen some pretty good Ninja Turtle stuff, man. But this thing is ugly. It's almost like this weird neon claymation look. I don't like it. But other than that, yeah, I just don't like the look of it. Although some reviewers are saying that there's definitely trouble with this movie, but the turtles themselves are actually pretty good. So awesome. But it looks ugly, and more importantly, this is April O'Neil. Super cute. This is a cuter version. She was a little bit more of a kind of the sporty pretty, really, in the show I remember seeing. But she's super cute, girl, as and she's smart, like a cub reporter type of kid, right? Right?
Yes.
Yeah, something like that.
Well, she's in the original. She's not even a kid. She's a full-grown woman.
Yeah, no,
reporter.
she was a woman, but I mean, she's like a cub reporter or something like that. But
Yeah.
now we have a new April.
Yeah. Absolute ghoul.
Race swap.
Of a creature. Yep. Fat.
I don't know what shape
swap.
this is. Lemon shaped, I guess.
Rotund. That's what shape that is.
Hair.
Another redhead. Another redhead replaced, dude. Another one. They cannot stand it. Is Eric been? He left. Oh, okay. Oh,
He's
that's
out.
too bad.
Bounced.
Think he had some connection issues. I don't know.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But
He went
I mean,
quiet.
other than the fact that this is a very ugly looking thing, they've intentionally made Splinter gay for no reason whatsoever. He is a sensei guy. He doesn't carry any sexuality. The teacher type doesn't, right? That's just kind of the trope, right? And then on top of it, we've race swapped April, but not only have we race swapped April, we have body shamed her. Because that's what they're doing here. They're body shaming April. And who was the hockey mask guy, the human that helped them out?
Casey Jones.
Casey Jones. Now, he and April ultimately were an item, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
I
so.
don't know which version.
Well, I seem to recall. Yeah, Redhead Extraction. That's right, Alan. But I mean, geez, dude, why you hating so much? Where's all the hate, dude? What's your point? I mean, just leave it be. Everyone knows what the turtles are. You don't have to mess with it. There's no need. Just do what it is. But they can't because those damn white people need dealing with. Right?
You know it. You know what it is. Honestly, I'm gonna go this other angle. I think because it's a lot of these Hollywood fucking liberals. They hate black people, so what they do, they change them to black because it's a troll. Because if you look at it, right, the excuse is always, oh, well, we're changing it to reflect a modern society, which basically is slang for LA. But yet, all the race changes are always black. You've never seen it where they race swap them to Asian, whether it be, of East Indian or Oriental.
Okay.
You never see them do any.
It's always black.
Hispanic. It's always black.
It's always black.
And when you look at the designs of these blacks, they're always fucking ugly
and gay.
Like, okay,
these days.
yeah. And if you're gonna race swap April O'Neil, you couldn't have her looking like fucking Bianca Belair.
Yeah, right. No, that's true. But no, what they do is just giving you guys hand-me-downs. They're giving you hand-me-downs.
But it's not just that. It's the ugly shit. It's like, when you was a kid, you had like an older sibling, and your parents wouldn't give you new clothes. You could just wear your brother's stuff. But instead of giving you the good clothes he had, they give you the one that he put holes and shit in it.
Yep.
You
Yep.
know, it's got
No,
that
I
one
know.
stain you just can't get out in the middle of the shirt. That's what they're doing.
I was the hand-me-down kid. I don't have an older brother, but it was my cousins because like I have a huge family, and my mom's the
Ah.
youngest. But I was the hand-me-down kid because my mother didn't like spending any money on us at all, right? So I literally was the kid in elementary school where I went to. I grew up in a very rich kid area, right? I wasn't a
Yeah.
rich kid, but my family's been in that area for 400 years, right? So
Mhm.
therefore, it's a legacy situation, but it's basically rich kids in that area. So every kid in my school had Nikes, Levi's, and polo shirt. That was the
Mm.
uniform, and that's what they wore. Me, I had Skippies. Not, I weren't even Skippies. They weren't Skippy levels. They were less than Skippies. They were used Skippies. And I had my clothing was from the like the 60s. So I had a lot of bell bottoms. I had striped pants, and very large collar shirts. No one wore button ups, just me. The only good thing is I was way bigger than anybody, and if they gave me shit, I cracked their freaking head.
Viking genetics.
Hmm. But that's what I grew up with, Grimlock. I understand that
Oh,
100%,
yeah.
dude. It sucks, man. It sucks. Yeah. I made sure my kids were proper, man. Probably wasting money on it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Very first pair of
Apparently,
shoes I bought for my kids were probably little Nikes that lasted like 3 days.
apparently Eric lost power because of a
Yeah, I
storm.
see that. He has a storm. Yeah, hopefully it's going to be okay. Yeah, we had a typhoon kind of passing
Damn.
through here this weekend, but not much of anything in this area.
Oh,
Excuse me. It
it
flooded the
rained.
hell out of
It
China, though.
rained. It rained like hell today, and I slept well because of it.
Mm, I haven't slept at all. No sleeping for me. But anyway, this is nonsense, stupid shit. And the sad thing about it is, it sounds like, at least in the beginning of the movie, the turtles themselves are actually pretty good, even though it looks horrible. Their characters and interaction were good. Now, I don't know why they only say the first half of the movie because I haven't really seen a super in-depth review yet, and probably won't. But I've heard very few comments. Like, the first half of the turtles were good. The first half the turtles were good. So I don't know what happens in the second half, but just it's ugly looking. It's a choice, I guess. It's an art style. I just don't like it, I suppose. But making Splinter gay, which makes no sense whatsoever, and this nonsense, no, thank you. I'm not interested. Anyway,
I find it very unlikely that the turtles are anything but cringy caricatures of the actual turtles.
I have no
I
clue.
guarantee you they're all jokesters constantly and everything's a big yuck yuck. I guarantee you there's no menace at all to Raph. I can tell just by every piece of art I've seen of him. The Raphael I grew up with would have eviscerated every one of those buckers. Every one of these
Yes.
turtles in the last few bits of the
Yeah,
turtle
no, he was
lore that
brutal.
we've seen.
I like Leonardo. I think he was my
The
favorite.
the only part about the only part I can almost feel bad is the kids who got roles of voice acting the turtles because they went
Yep.
with a younger. So kids getting a shot to do this. That's like every kid in my generation's dream come true.
Right, sure,
But
sure.
unfortunately,
Well, see, they could
they're
have left
gonna.
April the way she is and had a black girl voicer. That's fine.
But it's not just that. It's Seth Rogen. The moment they announced Seth Rogen on this, I had a feeling it was going
Which
to be
character does he
shit.
play?
He's produced this.
Oh, he's
This is
not
his
voice acting?
project.
Oh, okay.
No,
Well, he's the right
when they said
generation, though. He's a turtle generation. Yeah.
yeah, but Seth Rogen has been on a major
Oh, no, he's a shit
downswing since
stain.
his
No,
early
he is.
stuff.
Yeah, he's horrible. Yeah, we know.
Like his early stuff was actually good, but ever since then, he's been dog shit.
Yeah, no, I've seen him do some fun stuff. I liked him in the Green Hornet. That was him,
A
right?
lot of people hated that movie.
Yeah,
Yes.
but I thought it was okay. I mean, it wasn't good enough to be fair, but it was, yeah, it was a spoofy version of a thing. I thought it was fine. The only comedian in Hollywood that I know because I know there's a lot of really horrible ones I see on the Netflix thing, and they're just bad. But the only one I really don't get is Will Ferrell. I don't get him because he's never been funny for a second. I've never gotten a single chuckle out of that asshole. I don't
A
have
lot
it.
of
Well,
people
and
like him.
actually, I don't have anything against him. He could be a nice guy, and good for him of his success. But
I, th- I,
he's just not funny, dude.
I think a lot of people. I think he has that. He is fairly likable because a lot of people do like him. He's only had a handful of stuff that he's ever done that I've liked him in. Like I liked him in Step Brothers. I thought he was funny in Step Brothers. Um, I liked the Ladies Man. If you ever seen that, I thought he was good in that. And Stranger Than Fiction because it's the first time I actually saw him doing something where he wasn't acting like a doofus. And it's like, oh wow, he can act.
Yeah, no, he's always a
Wow.
doofus. Every single time.
He wasn't in that movie.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That was like a shock.
Roger, one of the art styles in Spider Verse probably is similar, but the thing about Spider Verse, the new one, is it has many, many, many different art styles, which is clever. That they did with that. Yeah, no, I whatever. No, I don't like Will Ferrell. He's just not funny. The funniest movie I've seen him in was The Anchorman, but he was
Oh
the
yeah,
he
Anchorman was
was the
good.
frickin' weight around the neck of the movie. I mean, that whole damn flute scene. I swear to God, I wanted to take an axe to him.
Will Ferrell hate. I'm here for it.
Yeah,
I'm here for it.
he's just not funny. But like I said, I don't have nothing against the dude himself. He could be a nice guy. He's just not funny, dude. Anyway, I don't get this. I don't get this.
He doesn't get it. Hang on, my Discord's having a fit. Gal Gadot confirms return as Wonder Woman, reveals she is working with DC Studios heads James Gunn and Peter Safran on third solo film. I can explain it to you very quickly. They don't like Henry Cavill because he won't put up with their bullshit. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. He has opinions and he dares to voice them. Gail will just do what she's told.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
suppose, but it doesn't make any sense for what he's doing, though. It doesn't make sense. If you're making a new thing with new people, why are you taking something from the old? Now it's going to be
Yes.
awkward having this Wonder Woman with some new what? It doesn't make any sense.
Well,
And
I'll say this: how true is that? Because hey, look, we had it confirmed from Henry Cavill that he was returning for Superman. We saw how long that shit lasted.
right, no, they called it out. And another problem you have, and nothing against Gal. Another reason why she's better with Henry is this. Because they're both getting older, right?
Yep.
Henry is a male, so he's going to last longer in his appeal than a woman. It's just the way it is. I don't see anything that's current. But maybe this is somewhat current. Not really. I think this is a couple years ago, actually. But whatever. I mean, she is an attractive woman. I'm not going to take it. She's too damn skinny, but whatever. But her age is showing. It is showing. And it is what it is. Margot Robbie is showing harsher than this, actually, and I think Gal is older than Margot. I think. But well, Gal Gadot, like the last thing I saw she was doing, which is stupid, but she's doing the evil stepmother in Snow White. Yeah, that's a good role. She's an older woman. It makes sense. It works. But having her continue as Wonder Woman, but yet having her with this new youngin Superman doesn't make sense. Have Henry standing next to her, who was a 30-something guy too. It works better. It makes more sense because I don't care what you say, and no matter how much you want to argue with me, Superman should always have been with Wonder Woman. Who is this stupid Lois Lane shit? One and two, Batman. I mean, fuck right off.
Yep.
Yeah. But I don't understand this, and because he's reworking it and creating his own DC thing. Okay, fine. whatever. We'll see, right? But you can't bring her into the mix, especially because her age is starting to bang on her. It's starting to show. It's okay. Everyone gets older. It's not a big deal. But for this character, it is a big deal because she's an immortal.
Chester, I hear it deep down in the things you're saying. I can hear it down in the subtext and the shadows of the words that are coming out of your mouth. You're starting to understand that James Gunn is a fucking hack. That's why.
Well, I always have agreed.
He's going to resist it, but it's true.
I've always agreed with you on many points. But one thing I would say about James Gunn is the shtick he does well.
Yep.
And all of us are waiting to see, can he do something beyond his shtick? That's the question. Can he? And for his own legacy, he needs to. He needs to come out with some stuff that is not what he does, and it needs to be great. Or otherwise, he's just the James Gunn, the one-trick pony, as many of them are. And that's fine. I mean, he's had success. He's made his money or whatever. But he is a one-trick pony right now. Can he do more? We'll see. But this is not a smart move. Now, but I don't think James had anything to do with this decision, though. I bet you.
Absolutely, I do. 100%.
You think?
Guarantee. If this is true,
it's illogical, dude. It's illogical.
Well, he's illogical. He's a pedophile, for Christ's sake. Come on now.
Fair enough.
But no, my point is, it doesn't have to be logical. The reason why is because he likes her. Gail's easy to get along with, and everybody's always said this. She's actually a very sweet woman. She's actually very easy to get along with. Seems like a good. She has a good heart in her.
Well, she's
good head on her
got
shoulders.
Married forever. How many kids? I mean,
she's been married forever to a guy who's not in Hollywood, who has nothing to do with Hollywood.
She's normal person.
She seems very normal, down to earth, even though she's built like some sort of skinny version of Athena. But
she's a model.
Yeah, but James is the type of person, and we see this in all his movies, and a lot of people are like this. This isn't unique to him, who only wants to work with people he knows he can get what he wants out of. Fair enough, he's a director and a producer, and he's trying to do something. That's fine. I'm not criticizing him for that. But Henry is not that guy. Henry has standards. He has principles, and he has certain things he will not bend on, hence why he's not the Witcher anymore. And I think that was the main hang-up. It had nothing to do with his age, had nothing to do with any of that. It was strictly because Henry will not just shut up and do whatever James tells him.
No, he's too much of a nerd.
Well, I want to say this. Do you think there is a blacklist on Henry right now?
There might be. There might be.
I do.
Because you notice that it's. I don't think James Gunn has anything against him personally because I don't think he's ever worked with him. But we've seen how many stories now about people just shitting on Henry Cavill, and come to find out it's because Henry is trying to make something that's faithful to the source material, while they're basically saying, "Shut up, nigga, and pretend." Yeah. And he's not going for that. Where Gal, and we've talked about it before, like. We the whole Justice League thing with Pedo Miller, and he was trying to get her to repeat that nonsense, and you could see how uncomfortable she was, but she just smiled it off and made the best of it. Where she'll just grit her teeth and bear it. Where Henry will be like, "Nah, nigga, I ain't doing this." So. I think that's.
And
I think that's.
I bet you
because
he's like us, right? Henry's one of us. He's about our age.
Yeah.
In fact, Grimlock and I's age, and he grew up in the same world we live in, and a lot of us we're this weird half generation between Gen X and millennials. We're very what's the word I'm looking for?
Jaded,
disagreeable people. Yeah, that's another one. We just have no time for your nonsense. We'll be nice about it. We'll be polite about it, but we're also not going to be. We're not just going to take you telling us to do something that's completely nonsensical and basically just telling it. We all have problems with authority. That's the best way to put it. We all have problems with authority.
You're American.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm looking at these two pictures here with Gal Gadot, and like I said, she is getting older, which is a different conversation. But yeah, she's always been too skinny for me. Do you guys like that?
Yeah,
No, she's too
she's
skinny.
always been too. To me, she's always too. That was my concern about her being Wonder Woman in the first place. Is like she's not bad looking, but she's skinny as hell.
And she is too skinny to play
Cheeseburger.
Wonder Woman. She clearly is.
Get some
But
cheeseburgers.
she did
Yeah, eat
okay.
'em
And
up.
I didn't see the second movie, the first movie. Now with
The second movie is an abomination unto God. I wouldn't wish
Well,
that on another
Patty.
planet.
That was Patty Jenkins' fault again. That goes again back to the thing about Gal because Patty Jenkins single-handedly fucked that movie up.
and it was
Yep.
really bad. We covered it. This isn't a perfect example, but I much prefer this kind of body type.
Oh no! See, that looks more Amazonian than
And it does look more
Gal.
Amazonian. Yeah, I kind of
Yeah.
prefer the
Like,
more athletic girl.
in the words of the great Tony Schiavone, that's a girl you can tussle with.
Yeah, no, that exactly.
Roll
I couldn't.
around
I
with her
just put
for a
an
bit.
athletic woman, and I don't see anything. See, this is a bit much, though. That's a
No,
bit much.
no. Considering what the Amazonians are supposed to be, I
Oh
think
no,
that's
I
on the
would talk
money.
about what I like.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no,
No, I
Amazonian.
think she'd be
You're
fine
right.
for an Amazonian too. Yeah, they're supposed to be warrior women,
Oh, here we
obsessed
go.
with fitness and war.
Oh, here we go. Here we
Um,
go. This is what I like. Here we go. Here we go. Right here. Yeah, that's a good
He
frame.
likes
I
some
like that frame.
cheerleaders.
That's a good frame. That's what I
not
like.
bad.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Whereas
Um,
nothing
He's
against
not.
Gal, like I said, she seems like a nice
But
lady,
no,
but
she's
damn,
not. She's not bad
skinny.
either.
No, she's
yeah,
pretty
Gal,
face, but she's just too damn skinny. But whatever.
No, I was talking about the other one you had showed.
This one?
No, the other one you said that you
Yeah,
liked.
no, this is definitely my
Yeah, that's
my
not
wife.
bad.
This is what my wife
See,
looks like. She
that's
looks just like this.
that's not bad because, like, yeah, she's slim, but you could see she's at least filled out. She looks like an adult woman.
No, she's
Like,
fit. She's fit. Yeah, no,
she
no.
does. Yeah, she does
Yeah.
it.
She's
I
not too
mean,
skinny at all.
she's she's slim. Like, yeah, it's not like for God's sakes, eat something, woman.
Yeah, not at
or
all.
Gal.
But I'm saying this is
Yeah.
exactly the kind of physique my wife has. And she's always doing her jazzercise in sports. So this. She looks
How
just
do you
like that.
feel about muscular women, Chester? Not like ridiculous, but a little bit,
well, like this
maybe a
one's a bit
little bit
much.
bigger than that.
This is a little bit much.
That's a
Yeah,
little
no,
much
I've
for you.
noticed an obsession. Here's an example here.
Yeah, that's outrageous. That's enough
But
of that.
and I just showed the other one. But like this right here. But the thing what it is, like I am I have to for my my Bugbear's basement. I have to run a campaign again. So all right. So and that takes a lot of preparation. So I got on that as well. And so I'm using the AI art creator so that I can create very specific things for the scenes I want, and I'm finding it to be fairly useful. So I'm doing that. But I also went on to the Open Art, which is really where you want to do your Stable Diffusion. Don't go to the Stable Diffusion page. Go to the Open Art page. Okay. But anyway, but also just going through the library of stuff that people have created, millions of things, and I just typed in superhero. Okay. Getting past all of the DC and Marvel crap. And DC particularly, people really like Superman. And when you ask the AI for superhero, I often try to find other words to use because it always wants to put an S on the chest of everything I'm creating.
Yep.
Right. But in the because a Wombo Dream is easy for a novice like me to use. Whereas I had to just go and study to understand how to prompt. The actual Stable Diffusion thing takes a little bit more smarts. But I got it going on though now. But I had to go study it, right? With a Wombo thing, I could do very easily. But my point being is muscle women everywhere. My God, over the top, dude. And I chose one to use because it is superhero, so sure I can put a muscle one in there. Why not? But let me show you one. Let me bring one up here real quick. Right?
See, I don't usually like too muscular either.
I'm not a big fan. Yeah.
I'm the type of guy. I'm strange, Chester. I'm a white boy from Ohio who likes his women like black men like their women. I like big round asses, nice big
No,
round hips,
I'm not into that.
big old boobies. I like them thick, but there is a couple of like really fit. They're muscular, but they're not like crazy like that picture you got there. They're just buff, I guess. There's a couple of them out there that I'm like, damn, they're
Here,
just packing heat. You know
look
what I
at that.
mean? Like they're just, oof.
Look at that.
I can't see anything. What am I looking at?
You should be able to see it.
That girl in red.
No,
Yeah, you still have the
yeah.
girl
Okay,
in
let
red up.
me fix it. I'll fix it. All right.
Because I'm be honest, I like the girl in red.
You know, some dudes like it. Some dudes like it,
Oh, I
but
wouldn't kick her out of bed. Let's not get crazy.
here, this one. Look at it.
Oh my God, yeah, what the hell is that?
It's extreme. But because I went through and I saw there was a lot of them, and I'm trying to pick because I want to have some, and it's way over sexualized, by the way. AI, get a room. But
The AI knows the horny.
it's the dudes that are creating it. Like I chose this to be like a CEO type bad guy lady, and it's fine. I got a couple of pictures because when I'm doing my presentations, it's nice if I can have multiple different costumes of the person and body positions. It's useful, right? If you're going to have a character that's reoccurring. Now, single recurring characters, it doesn't matter, but reoccurring stuff, and usually there's a few built in. So, but there's so many of these muscle ones. I tried to find non-muscle ones, and I did. It took a lot more work and a lot more of my effort. But I did decide to go with two. This lady, which I have a few pictures on her, and that one I showed is probably I'm not going to probably use that photo, but I found this girl that either it's just what the AI has been training on, or it's a named character. I have no clue. But this character here I will use. But they're just everywhere. It's all muscle stuff. Like take a look at these. I mean, wow, that's huge, dude.
Yeah,
But
that's ridiculous.
it's way over the top. But these are things that other people have made. So unfortunately, there's not a lot of stuff. I will use those two. But look how muscled they are, right?
Yep.
I mean, look at this one, and then this one right here. I mean, this is better. She's covered up. It's harder to see, but look at the muscle on this old lady, right? Whereas that's that. Then this is stuff that I made on my own. And it's a superhero, so you need something that's a little stronger. But this is something I made on my own. It's a little more reasonable, right?
Well, all I can still see is the big muscle redhead.
Oh, it's not. I see, because I'm going from. Oh, goodness gracious. Well, I don't have to. You understand. You get my point. But
Yeah.
I did create some stuff on my own, and I got male stuff as well. But probably I'll show this one then. This is probably the most successful AI creation I've had so far. So let me bring it up here, because they're opening up all in their own file. Is the problem why. But this right here is probably the most successful one I created. And it's exactly what I wanted, dude. It's so perfect.
So it's Shrek.
Yeah, but you can see how I can use it, right?
Shrek left Fiona and discovered CrossFit. I love it.
But
they got a divorce, and Shrek's like, "All right, time to get in shape."
Well, he's just out.
You know what? I would be down for this story. Like fucking Donkey comes back to train him to run the marathon.
Oh yeah, no. But no, this guy is kind of out for his day, and he's having a bad day, and of course he's a super, and he's having a frustrating day, and he goes on a rampage. So perfect, and a picture I can use for that. C Street in the background.
Local GNC destroyed. Thousands of dollars of creatine lost. Details at 6.
At 6, right? But I mean, you can see how useful this image is for me, right? And of course, what I can then do is take this picture, which is exactly what I wanted, and then I can drop it in, and I can create variations of it, right? I can create different backgrounds. I can create different body positions off of this frame. I've got what I want. Now I can do, for instance, because I spent a lot of time working on it, and But like for instance, let me show you this other one. I showed you that one muscle lady, right? And
Yep.
I'm not going to show all of them, but well, I guess I can. Here's the older lady. You see how buff she is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And but I'll use it. And then there's this girl who I'll use as well. But I can't use the rest of it. And I have many pictures of this redhead, so she'll be. I haven't decided yet, but she'll be a reoccurring figure, right? And so I have, and it's good. I have multiple pictures, but I don't want all these
The
super
next time
muscle
she
girls.
reappears, she'll be black.
Well, not in my story, she won't. Thank you very much. But this is one that's something someone else made. I made the green guy, and this one I made as well.
Nice.
And it's
Nice.
much more reasonable, right? It's a superhero, so it should be athletic without question, right? And she is. And she's a little bit different. It looks a little bit like a Latino. And it's got the comic book sexy, but it's not over the top, right?
You know,
Um,
going back to that green one you have, I just imagine in my head now, like a Nike training commercial with orcs, and it's that character going, "Dungeons are not the only thing we raid," and it's a training montage.
right. Well, you want some
I don't know
Nike
why.
stuff because I actually experimented with that. And
Uh
I wanted to see, can I, with this AI stuff, because it's kind of fun to put, modern day things into your story, right? It's very relatable. So I tried it. And like I said, I did a lot of study to learn actually how to do the prompting. And I'm actually probably the perfect person to do that because of my linguistic abilities. But this girl right here, you
The
can
autism.
see
Yeah.
that she is. I set this up as a promo shot, which is actually one of the search terms you should use because you want to set up where the character's standing, how they're standing. If you're doing a character promo shot or CCTV, or there's all kind of little prompts you can do, lighting and et cetera, et cetera. But as you see, I put Nike on her. There's another one here I put Nike on. This is actually a variation of a character I created, and I actually took that variation. She was a little bit more Latino, and I Asianed her up, and I thought it came out pretty nice. I could do a comparison, I guess, but this is simple enough, I think. But if
Hmm.
you look at this character right here, once again, it's reasonable. And the way that the endorsement wear, the Nike wear, came out, it could be a little bit more perfect. But from what my level, I think it works really well because in my story that I'm doing a fun little superhero thing. We haven't done that before, so I'm just going to do it straightforward. But it makes sense to me that in that world, why would superheroes not wear product endorsement?
Right.
Of course they would. And I can do it. That definitely is Nike, and I could go and work on this more, change colors if I wanted to. But you know, and the original, I'll show you the original that's coming off of. I think she looks better. I'll show you the original. This is a bit softer, but the original was this one. And of course, I have male characters as well, but we're talking about muscle women right now. So, but this
Muscle women's.
muscle women's, yeah. But this is the original. I took it off of.
Hmm.
I
She looks more
think
like
I
Latina.
think as I created this one too, but I kind of you can see she's kind of similar to the other girl, which I took her in that face and that look in a different direction. But the Asianized version of this picture, I just think it's softer and better. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree.
And this is I made this face, this body, I turned into that orange and black suit girl. Same. You can see the face
um,
and the hair is the same.
not I don't know if you've seen the chat. Eric is saying now you can do art with us on D&Q.
Yes, I
Uh
can.
oh.
Quicker than you too.
Ah,
But
We live in
the thing
amazing
is, for what I'm
times.
doing, because I don't make money off of it, this is just for fun. For what I'm doing, this is very easy for a person that can't do art. You can see how I'm able to create a thing. I can adjust it. I can change it. Right. It's
Yep.
very useful for that in that kind of situation. If you go to create a publication, well, then go hire artists, and especially because I know a bunch, good ones too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, you see my point.
Oh yeah.
These people got this weird muscle fetish thing going on. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
It ebbs and it wanes, or waxes and wanes. What the internet is into, because I remember just a few years ago, it was a completely different narrative, right? It wasn't the big muscle girls, wasn't the mommies. That's what they're calling them now, mommies.
Mommies.
Um, yeah, yeah.
Sounds
There's a
very
lot of
mommy.
very weak young men who were raised in single parent households, most likely, or with overbearing mothers in general, who seem to get off on the idea of a woman being dominant to them. Uh,
Yeah, that's true.
I don't understand it personally, but hey, whatever makes you happy, I guess.
Okay, now I need to wrap it up because it's the end of my time. But let's do this real quick. Um, this right here, it's not a big deal, but of course Agatha Harkness is going to be gay, obviously.
Of
Whatever,
course, yeah.
of course.
Because
Uh,
yeah.
but this is the one that's kind of interesting to me. Go ahead.
The Acolyte actress Daphne Keane claims Disney Plus Star Wars series features a lack of guns.
Now,
So,
yeah,
so we're gonna take all the war out of Star Wars.
right. Now, here's the thing. This is Headley is doing this, and she's going. That this woman. Just read this article. She has her head so far up her ass. That Headland lady. It's ridiculous. But she's going on and on and on about her world, and of course, the Jedi can never be good, even though we're in an era where they rule, because they're
Yep.
because they represent the man, so they have to be bad. It's just stupid, childish thinking from this woman, right? But and that's fine. Go read the article. It's just unbelievable. This little girl, though. Now understand, they get her hair or her hair over her boobs, make it look like she actually has boobs, which she doesn't. Right? She's got a tight little shirt to make it look like she's got boobs, but she doesn't. They got a shitload of makeup on her. But you want to see what she really looks like?
Jeez.
That's a child.
Yeah,
And she has a
she looks
child's
12.
body, and that's why she was hired, because she started doing things when she was a kid. She still is a kid. But here's the thing: this whole article, half the article, is about this little girl talking about how their fighting is so much better than the Darth Maul fight. Ours is way better. We don't need guns. We have saber fights, and we're so much better. Oh my God, we're so much better. She goes on and on about it. And here's the thing: now, do you think that this little girl is going to pull off a John Wick-esque fight scene?
No.
Anybody? Anybody? Raise your hand. Anybody?
I,
Yeah.
I don't think she can make it to the end of the block without falling out.
Yeah, but she thinks she is, though. She thinks she
Hmm.
thinks she's hot shit.
Yeah,
But no one's
I'm
going to
pretty
watch this
sure
movie.
most of that. I bet. How much you want to bet most of that fight, whatever it is CG'd anyway?
No, she said, no, it's all real. We don't use CG. We do practical. I got bonked on the head many
Yeah,
times, she said. Bonked on the head. Bonked. Alrighty. But this TV show, this Disney Plus Acolyte's not going to go anywhere. This is, keep in mind, this is Kathleen Kennedy and Headland's wet dream. This is exactly precisely what they want to do with Star Wars from the beginning. A lot of the stuff was them simply stealing and overwhelming and taking stuff and enforcing themselves on the situation, on something that is different than they want. This right here is absolute pure SJW woke radical feminism. Pure.
Yeah. Yeah.
So who knows? Maybe they'll get lucky and have a Barbie moment. But I just thought it was so funny because because I don't know who she is, but when I saw this and I looked at this girl who's clearly been thrown in front of a makeup artist and just thrown it, she don't want to be there. Look at her. She ain't happy. That makeup
No.
ain't working. She's all shiny. It ain't working. They're trying to fake up her tits. And it's okay. You don't have to have tits, baby. It's all right. You can be normal, right? But and this was one of the more adult pictures I could find of her, by the way. Most of her pictures, she really looks like a little kid. And of course, that's why she's hired, because she has that little kid body, right? That's
Right.
the point. Like Daisy Ridley was chosen because she looks like a boy. That's why they chose her. They clearly didn't choose her because her acting ability. Obviously, they chose her because she looks like a boy. This girl's chosen because she has that little kid body, but she's a bit older, therefore she can possibly act. A lot of times, right? You see like that. It's like all the Harry Potter kids. You look how teeny they are as adults because they were a little bit older than, and that's what they go for. But I just thought it was, I have nothing against this girl, but typical Hollywood brat, just going on about, how awesome their fights are. I mean, look at her standing there. Look at her gut. This is not an in shape person that's running around doing amazing fight scenes. This dude, stunt doubles, maybe, right? And I don't know what she looks like because she's always wearing freaking robes. But we know there are women who can pull it off. This guy right here,
Yeah.
he looks like a freaking ranger. He looks like a Power Ranger build. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
there she is. There's a better picture of her without all that stupid
She's-
makeup on her. Yeah, no, she's not pretty. But that's the point. That is the point. Like I said, this makeup and what they got going on here, they're trying so hard, right? So hard. This girl looks so uncomfortable. What in the hell? Look at. Oh, I didn't even notice that. I didn't even notice that. What is the what? Grimlock, help me out with your people and your fashion.
No fuck.
Dude, I'm jeans and a t-shirt kind of guy. I ain't never been in an old fashioned.
Dude, they're literally wearing cut-off jean shorts strapped to the calf. Oh man, these people.
Yeah,
They're
that's
retarded.
something. Yeah.
That is really
That's
bad,
retarded.
dude. And then she spackled some paint on there to look like she's cool. Oh, you poor little girl. She probably didn't wear that. That's not her choice, though, I imagine. Here's that Headland lady, just pure hate, pure hate. This
I mean,
girl,
shit. If you grew up and that's how you ended up looking, wouldn't you be hateful?
nah, fair enough. She's doing that to herself, though. This little girl right here, she looks a little bit more athletic, doesn't she? Maybe,
Maybe.
but whatever. She maybe. But the thing is, you can get men and women that can go out there and do stunts. It's very, very possible. But they don't. And if they're sitting there, the most amazing acting scene ever, it's all practical. There's no CG at all. I did it all myself. Don't you believe it?
Mm-hmm.
Don't you believe it? Because we've seen what that takes. We've seen what that takes from one of our most beloved. And I'm not talking Nick Cage, although there's nothing but love. I'm talking about Keanu. Did you see the freaking workout sessions he did for those Wick movies? Jesus, man. Just
And he
hours
even
every
got a
day.
little sloppy. He even got a little sloppy in
The third
in
one.
two. I'd
The
say
fourth
in
one.
the
Yeah.
third
They're
one, he got a
pushing
little
too hard,
sloppy.
dude. They were pushing him too hard, dude.
Yeah. The fourth one, I'd say he got his build back
Yeah, the
by and
third
large.
one's
He's
the
a lot
best.
slimmed down. Yeah, but that third one, he got a little chunky. You could tell.
Yeah, but it's okay. But I mean, I was saying the work ethic.
I mean, he is in his 50s, for Christ's sake. Let the
He is.
man
He's
eat.
my age. Yeah.
Yeah.
And nothing but props to him. We know the work ethic it takes to pull that off. We know. Go talk to Hugh Jackman. Go talk to him, right? Go talk to Tom Cruise, right? And he's
Yep.
60.
Still
So
going strong.
yeah, but I'm just saying you can look right at that little girl. There ain't no action in her. She's a soft-bodied little girl. There's no tone. There's no muscle spring. There's nothing like that. Anyway, I gotta go, man. I'm past my time.
You're the one who's still chatting it up
I know
about
it's
these
my
women's.
fault. It's my fault.
This guy here. Oh
Well, take us
man,
out of here.
we had an interesting stream today, tonight, whatever it is, wherever you are. Chester, it's still daytime for you, right? Morning
Yes.
time.
Yes.
But
Noon. Lunchtime.
for me, it's what, almost midnight? Yeah, 11:42.
Yep.
Long one, boys. Yeah, it's an interesting stream. I do like the idea of having a tech stream. I think we also should have another wrestling stream coming up because wrestling is WWE is hot as hell right now. They just had their biggest SummerSlam of all time.
Oh, really? Yeah, no, we can definitely
Yeah.
do a couple of those in a row. I don't mind switching up because the entertainment stuff gets a bit boring, doesn't it?
It's not only a bit boring, it's just like there's nothing going on.
Sad.
Yeah, same
Like,
shit every day. Yeah, no, we'll do.
Yeah.
Next week I'm off because I'm busy. But the week
Yeah.
after, I'll let's do a tech show and I'll talk about my computer I got set up and we'll talk about tech stuff. So prepare,
That's-
Grimlock.
Sounds like
All right.
what do they call it? A plan.
It sounds like a
plan.
plan. And if you run into Mr. Ben in the chats, tell him we're doing a tech thing 2 Mondays from now. Because
Oh, I'm sure I will.
Well, if you want to have a tech conversation, that's the dude to have. We won't
Yeah.
talk about what his job is, but trust me, that's the dude that you want in a tech
He
conversation.
knows him some tech.
He does
So,
intimately.
Chester, it's funny. We were talking about some of these people and how miserable they look, right? That girl that you were talking about, she just looks miserable. She
Miserable.
clearly doesn't even really want to be there, but she is there because da 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 da. So we're gonna go with this one. Hating yourself is a low fate. A life lived dead.
That's true. Namaste. Later, everybody.